Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about beloved Bachelor Nation alums who have made the crossover to Netflix to see if they can squeeze just a little bit more TV juice out of their personal trauma.
Spoiler alert, they can. And they also can somehow manage to repeat the same patterns that we've seen them play out before, despite having been publicly shamed for doing so.
Yeah, just a little more evidence people shame does not work. Today, we're getting into the first drop of Perfect Match Season 3, episodes 1 to 6. And I mean, there's 6 episodes, so there's like a
There's a
lot to get
lot.
into.
There's a lot we're going to try. We're going to obviously not get to every detail, but we're going to hit the most important things.
Before we get started, just a little housekeeping. We have an episode coming on The Hunting Wives, the hit soapy Netflix murder drama that
It's so
has,
many things.
yeah, that everyone's been talking about. And that's going to be over on Rich Text at claireandemma.substack.com.
So let's talk about Perfect Match. This is the third season of Perfect Match, a show that brings together singles traditionally from the wider Netflix universe for a revolving door dating show. And this season that we're watching now was actually filmed a year ago during summer 2024. And as we all know, this is when AD and Ollie meet, who are now engaged and expecting their first child, a daughter, in November. So yeah, wonder what will happen between them. Guess we'll have to watch and see.
Yeah, who would expect to walk into Perfect Match and be like, I will have a child with one of these people in less than a year and a
No,
half?
absolutely insane, and I really have to hand it to them. Also, because
No,
they're
they
just
did
both
the damn
so
thing.
beautiful.
They're like Love is Blind and Love is Blind UK didn't quite work for us because we need to be able to see how hot we are and our partner is. But aside from that, we're ready. So, for the first time, Netflix also cast talent that's like outside of their existing talent pool. They were really pulling in people from other networks. And it was a great idea, I think.
Love
They're
this.
able to expand the dating shows and like the high profile dating shows that they can draw from. They only have to cast one person from Dated and Related this time
Thank God.
because they can cast from The Bachelor, Love Island USA, Love Island UK. And so you have all of these people in the cast who are not just like clearly able to say, I'm looking for love. That's why I went on TV originally, but also they're like good at it. They were cast originally to be good at dating on TV. Not everyone has that. And
So
you
true.
often see, even when you cast someone from like Siesta Key or like selling Miami or whatever, they just don't have quite the same skill set. It's
We
actually
need
very
professional
ruthless.
daters.
We need professional daters. They
And we have them. And it also just means that the vibes of the season are way better because there are a
mm.
lot of people that other people in the house are like, oh, if I was truly picking a long term partner, this person could be that person.
Yeah, this person is looking for a relationship and they clearly match my level of like hotness, dating savvy experience. Like we're all kind of on the same playing field for the most part. And I do think that's a better vibe. I remember in the past we've been like, it seems like the too hot to handle people are just kind of out of
Dominating.
control. They're dominating to a point where they're able to like, where it kind of distorts the show. And
Yeah.
that's not how it feels this time. You don't immediately have that sense of, oh, this person's from too hot to handle. So obviously they're kind of controlling the slate.
No, no, you really have like a nice mix of Love is Blind, Too Hot to Handle, The Ultimatum, The Bachelor, like Love Island. It's a really really great vibe. I am loving this season so far. Something I did notice because we are covering Bachelor in Paradise at the same time is that our feeling that BIP had been Netflixified, it was correct.
Yeah, BIP does feel like in many ways it's drawing more directly, as you said in the past, from Perfect Match than from
Love
Love
Island.
Island. The villa is more upscale. It looks more like a beautiful resort you'd actually go to. It's not quite the like neon and like wipe clean white furniture vibe of Love Island. It's more grown up. And also like the rapidity of the new people coming in and being eliminated and the nature of the couples challenges feels like what they're starting to go for with Bachelor in Paradise. I think it works better with Perfect Match in part because they bring in fewer people per elimination.
Yes.
And so it still is kind of tough. It's hard for people to stick. It's hard to come in. These people have been hanging out for 3 days and have one 30-minute conversation at best at a party and take their match away. But it doesn't feel quite as much like the Red Wedding every episode because it's only 2 new people coming in, and every now and then they do knock someone out. So it keeps it feeling like a little bit more, like, fresh without it being so, like, overwhelming how many people are coming in and out.
Exactly. I feel like 3 seasons in, this show has finally hit its stride,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I have to hand it to the producers and editors for really making efforts to improve upon last season, because last season, the casting was a bit of a mess. We had, like, multiple men who just seemed to be making women in the house feel, like, unsafe and uncomfortable, and, like, there is none of that in this cast.
Yeah, I have, like, really bad memories of Harry Jowsey, on last
And
season
also
that I
whoever
need my
that guy
cleaned from my
was from
brain.
Dated and Related who was, like, questioning whether bisexuality exists.
I can't keep
It
a
was
man from
bad.
Dated and Related in my head for the life of me. Sorry to Daniel from this season. Um, so should we get into the action?
Yes. Should we talk about the OG cast?
Yes, yes. We have an original cast that is stacked. We have AD from Love is Blind season 6. She's looking for an alpha male who's tall, muscular, and paid. We have Sandy from The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, season 3, memorable for being in a relationship with a much older artist who had a like real difficulty with seeing her in a trial marriage and kind of spent most of it spinning out.
They broke
And
up at the end.
they broke up. She wants a husband with depth, preferably tattooed. So she does
A
have
lot
a
of these
type.
ladies are looking for a tattooed man.
Yes. Tattoos are, they just show that a man's creative and has depth and also enough money to constantly get tattoos. Cody is from Temptation Island season 1. I
I have
guess the
no
first,
memory of him.
presumably the first season on Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're like pretending like they're starting
Yeah.
Temptation
This
Island
is an
over
original,
again.
this
They're
is an
like
original
season
property.
1 on Netflix, and there's
Yeah.
only been one on Netflix.
He knows he's a catch. He has fun and he works out. Louis from Too Hot to Handle season 5 and 6 and Battle Camp season 1, somehow only 23, which proves to be a problem for a lot of the women. He is a self-described menace, but with a warm heart. And I think that we both agree that, like, he does take the sort of Harry Jowsey role of being the kind of, like, incorrigible but irresistible, sexy bad boy from Too Hot to Handle, but he doesn't have the same, cold, manipulative heart.
Right.
He seems
He's
like
not
it
as, like,
fundamentally
nakedly
could.
toxic and maybe a
Yeah.
bad person.
I think he's actually sort of emotionally intelligent and kind underneath the
I
hotness,
agree.
and we're gonna get into it, but I've been enjoying having him on the season. We also have Lucy from Too Hot to Handle season 6. She describes herself as the girl who has been crying on the tube, crying in the shower, crying on Netflix.
I love
I
Lucy.
love Lucy. The name of that sitcom is correct because
It
I do
really is
love
correct.
Lucy.
Also, after I heard her intro, I was like, "Oh, I see why Rachel Recchia has clearly become best friends with her." I've seen them posting together all over Instagram.
You need a buddy to cry with.
Exactly.
Madison from Love is Blind season 8 is there. She also loves a bad boy with tattoos. I wonder, like, it's so strange that things didn't ultimately pan out with Alex.
Alex and
It's like,
Mason.
and Mason, who are like not that guy at all. But neither is Freddie. So
Yeah. Maybe her imagined type is not like the thing she actually wants.
maybe, yeah, maybe she's trying to go against the type that hasn't worked out for her. Daniel is from Dated and Related season 1. He's tall, he's fit, and he's very good in the bedroom. His
Thank you,
words,
Danielle.
not mine. Ollie is from,
uh,
of course, Love is Blind UK season 1. And he wants someone who's sweet-natured, kind, funny, and a baddie. And yes, he was on Love is Blind, and, like, this is the first time that we're really fully seeing him embrace the side of himself that cares a lot about what women look like. Like, it was clear with the way things played out with his relationship and, like, the person from the show that he dated post-show, who was a bit more of, like, a traditional baddie, but he's really letting it all out here.
Oh, yeah.
Juliet from Siesta Key season 1 through 5 was not a familiar face to me. I did not watch Siesta Key.
I somehow have seen a few random episodes here and there. It's like a huge mess. One of those MTV shows.
Yeah. She strikes me as someone who has, like, always been, like, one of the hottest girls in the room, and she has not had to, like, do much except let men fight over her, and that's what she wants to happen here.
Correct. That is my understanding of her vibe. And I think that it is hard for her to compete on a dating show, we see.
Yeah, you have to know how to, like, actively, get in the mix
Play the
and
game.
yeah, play the game. And then another person who is not very good at this is Clayton from The Bachelorette season 18. Of course, The Bachelor season 26.
I think this was great casting, though.
It was inspired. I can't believe that they convinced him to go on a show,
I was
given
thinking the
how
same
it
thing. I'm like,
destroyed his life.
Clayton, you have been so traumatized. Although I was also wondering, like, with the whole scandal that he went through, that ultimately he was like exonerated from, there was like an alleged pregnancy, it turned out to be fake. This woman was manipulating him. It was like pretty horrible. I think that case has been like settled in his favor officially. But he was very open about the fact that he had lost like basically all of his sponsorships when this stuff came up and a lot of the opportunities. And so I wonder if he's
Mm,
looking at it just like, I got to get back out there.
yeah, maybe. And then there is the appeal of like a potential redemption arc. Like, I'll
Yes.
do it better this time. And then we have, of course, a bunch of singles who are not there, but who are rotated through as options in the boardroom. So when a couple wins a challenge, they get to choose two singles. Usually it's either um, four men or four women that you can choose two and put them on dates with people in the house. And so we have options on this board, like Freddie from Love is Blind UK, JR, Sandy's ex trial partner from The Ultimatum season 3. We have like Alex from Temptation Island, who sort of famously was in
A threesome.
a threesome on camera or semi on camera. We have QT from The Circle and Battle Camp. And we have Rachel from The Bachelor season 26, The Bachelorette season 19, and Bachelor in Paradise season 9.
Again, absolutely fucking inspired casting. I feel like Rachel thrives on this show in a way that we didn't really see her thrive on The Bachelorette or on Bachelor in Paradise.
There's less, like, pressure on her than there was on The Bachelorette, and there
There's
are
more people
options who
that
aren't
she
Clayton.
there
So,
are options who aren't Clayton,
win-win.
but also just like options of people who she might actually be interested in and who are actually interested in her. And she
Yeah.
really didn't quite have that chance when she was on Paradise.
I still am not, like, satisfied with how the season is going for her, and, like, I'm not, like, feeling that confident about her connection, and I think she deserves a better one, so I'm glad that she's having a good time. We'll get into it, but I'm sorta like I was sort of hoping that she would find someone who seemed more like a really good fit for her, but
Yeah, I think we will see. We leave off at a point where, yeah, I have a big question mark about her connection, but it's
yeah,
clear that she is going to be on the following episodes of the show.
yeah,
So
at least she's
we'll
having
see
a
how it
good
plays
run.
out.
So let's dive in to episode 1. The OG singles arrive and they immediately get thrown into a sexy compatibility challenge. They like to start with like an icebreaker that's like, everybody kiss or lick each other. They have, there's like dice or like, in this case, I think it's like you drop a disc with someone's name into the top of a board with pegs that, like, bounces it around until it
They get
reaches an
very
option at the
complex.
bottom. Yeah, and so then you have to do the action that it lands on at the bottom with that person. And so they're eating strawberries out of each other's breasts. There's, body shots, there's all these things. And they start to like display their interest in certain people. Like Lucy and Juliet are both gunning for Daniel for some reason. Couldn't be me, but they're into it. He's tall, dark, handsome,
I I mean, they
considered to be
seem to think
handsome.
so.
And Clayton, in such an earnest Clayton, he does not actually know how to play the game. He
Oh my god,
thrives on a
poor
certain amount of
Clayton.
luck until he finally leaves.
Cl
But he's just like, "I'm just gonna say that, Lucy, I'm really attracted to her," and in front of the whole group, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay." Um, Bold move, because then, of course, Lucy is, like, touched by his interest, but he's not who she was going for, and then every other woman is like, "I'd like to be a first choice, actually," and I'm not.
Correct.
So, there start to be certain, like, competitions that are unfolding, but there are also some couples that are very quickly drawn to each other, like Ollie and AD.
My god. After, like, 40 minutes in the villa, they are full on cuddling on the couch, and Ollie tells the camera, "The moment I walked in, everyone else became a little bit invisible."
Yeah, it really seems like it. Like, they almost, like, lock eyes when he
And it's
comes
done.
in. It's like you can see the world falling away from them. She's like, "I like to take care of my Love Is Blind people, like, come over here." And from that instant, like, they're basically attached to each other.
I was like, "This is my favorite rom-com."
I know. I was like, love at first sight is real, cause like, they
I
see each
believe
other
in
and they
it.
lock in. They like, she certainly wouldn't have seen his season, it wasn't out yet.
No.
So it really is just, like, instant chemistry and attraction, but then the more that they talk, the more it's like they're really compatible in a lot of ways, and they really, like, share the same sense of humor and the same sort of, like, energy in the relationship, and I don't know, it is like I wasn't expecting it to be quite so immediately.
Instant.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very intense, and it's kind of lovely to watch the beginnings of someone's love story that you know is going to work out.
Yeah. It's very sweet.
It's so sweet.
But they're
So
also not boring. They get up to a lot of
oh, they are not
complications.
boring. They are
Yeah.
not boring. That's why it's my favorite rom-com because they
Yeah.
face adversity.
Yeah. They do explore. So Louis, who says he's a changed man after his second stint on Too Hot to Handle, really hits it off with Sandy. I sometimes feel like Too Hot to Handle people also come off but like there's something about the Too Hot to Handle concept that reduces them all to like sex crazed philanderers who like literally have to fuck everyone in front of them because they're all like so obsessed with the sex that they're not allowed to have, but often in a different context. They're just like people who enjoy sex and maybe they can have sex with the person they're matched up with. So it's not like they're literally someone you can't even like trust. It's like the whole framing of the show
Right.
is just like if they come from this show, they're going to fuck anything that isn't nailed down because they can't control themselves.
Right. But like the main people that we see in this stretch of episodes from Too Hot to Handle are Lucy and Louie, who both seem very open to being in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, they're very like interested in like growing their connections. And the problem for Louis is that most of the women are older. I think all of the women are older than 23, and they are
Yeah.
mostly not looking to date a 23-year-old whose job is going on dating shows
They're
where he
also
has
mostly like in
sex.
their late 20s. It's not even
Right.
like they're 25, 26. They're like 28.
Yeah, they're at kind of a different life stage. And some of them immediately shut it down. Like Madison will barely even talk to him after that. She's like, "You're like a baby." And he's like, "I don't like to be called a baby."
Except
So
in bed.
except in bed. I'm like, "Well, could be the start of being in bed, just go with it, see what happens." He doesn't know where Minnesota is, which I think is completely fair
It
because
is
he's not from
British.
America. Yeah, I think, American geography is not something that most people around the world need to know the details of, but she is really confused that he doesn't know where Minnesota
Or it
is.
I think she's more confused that he doesn't realize you can't, like, walk to Alaska.
Yeah, the details are a little confusing I mean, you probably I think you could, it would just take a really long time because you have
It
to
would
walk
take
through Canada.
it would be it would be a really long journey.
It would be a long summer hike through the tundra. And so ultimately Louis and Sandy match because she's like, you're younger than me, but I've dated men who are 40 who acted like children. And so I'm sure I could handle a 23-year-old. Like age is
I think
just a
this is
number,
a fair
clearly.
point.
Lucy and Juliet are both going for Daniel, and Juliet likes that even though he's not British, he does have an accent.
I like that Juliet believes there is one accent, and that is British.
I don't does he even have a perceptible Canadian accent? I sort of thought it was more like an Italian American style kind of like
I mean, I can hear that he's from Toronto. It's that, but a
okay.
Toronto accent is very similar to an American accent.
Right. I was not like picking up on what she was picking up on, but if she likes it, I love that for her. Um and she's like, I don't think anyone can match our vibe together, but Lucy absolutely can because she is gorgeous. She's very into him. He's not into blondes, which Juliet is, and he does love Manchester United, which is her dad's favorite Premier League team.
So they match.
Perfect match.
Clayton, very on brand, is overwhelmed by all of the beautiful women in front of him. He's very
Oh,
picky. And he's also, oh, bless his heart, very, very, very earnest. Clayton is
yeah.
so earnest.
Even in the Bachelor world, he is unusually earnest, but The Bachelor also compared to other shows,
Is
other dating
unusually
shows, is
earnest.
unusually a lot of them have like more British DNA, and there is that concept of like dating through humor and banter. And then you watch The Bachelor and they're all like, "So, what tell me about your last relationship? Like what are
How
you
long have
looking
your parents
for?
been married?
How long have your parents been married? Like where do you see yourself in 5 years?" And that's why The Bachelor needs to shape up because it gets very boring. Clayton's just like, "Tell me who you are. I
And the
wanna know
women are
about
like,
you." They're like,
this is a party villa, Clayton. I'm
they're
trying
like,
to have banter.
I'm someone who likes to have fun, and this
Yeah.
is not fun." So Lucy and Daniel match up, and Clayton has now Juliet and Madison as options. He decides to ask Madison to match, and just as she's about to answer, Juliet steals him away. While he is talking to Juliet, Madison talks to Cody and ends up matching with Cody because she prefers to be a first choice, and obviously Lucy was Clayton's first choice. And so Clayton ends up matching with Juliet.
So they all head to bed. And the next morning, we get into our first compatibility challenge. This is like a signature part of Perfect Match. And honestly, these challenges are hilarious. They're all so complex.
They're so intricate. I again would just die to be present for the development of the like they must do them in
I
the off
know.
season. They must like have opportunity to like test and tweak. They have production assistants up there like trying to achieve what they're supposed to achieve with the challenge to make sure that it will work when they have the contestants do it. Like how do they come up with these
I
things?
know. Like this first one is it's both physical and there's a sexy element. Like they have to paddle back and forth by like pulling a rope on these like shaky wooden rafts in order to retrieve kissing cards from like the middle of the bay or whatever and then raft back, and they can only carry the cards back and forth between their mouths like suck and blow style.
Yeah,
It's
it's like, "Sure, of course. Yeah, I'll just do that." Like, that whenever they explain the challenge, I don't actually understand what the challenge is until I see them doing it. Like, I'm a visual learner, I guess. Um, and so they all try to come up with the most efficient way of actually doing this. And like Clayton is so brawny, and this tactic that they choose to use is that he's going to lie on his back with his head in the direction that they're going. And so the combination of the positioning and his size means that he's just like almost
He's like
being waterboarded the
submerged.
whole time. Like
And
his head is
Juliet's just like, you're
underwater.
too heavy. You're too heavy for this.
But I'm like, it's physics. You could also change his position. Like you could there are other people who are in other positions where this would not, but you're like just basically dropping the heaviest weight that you have on the raft right at the prow where it's going to get dragged into the water. Like I think that they need to be a little bit more strategic.
They are not. They're unable to be. Juliet has a lot of feedback, but none constructive.
Yeah, you're too heavy. Be lighter.
Yeah.
Louis and Sandy keep taking breaks to make out.
Which
Like,
I
I do feel like
respect.
there's a way where Juliet and Louis and Sa like, it's sorta like humble bragging. It's like, we're not doing good at the challenge, but it's just because he's so hunky. Like, it's just because we're so into each other.
I love this actually, because I think at a certain point, if you realize you're trailing super behind, why
Just make
stress
out.
out? Just have
Yeah.
fun.
Madison and Cody figure out a good strategy, and ultimately, this allows them to win. They dump, like, the most cards into the bucket with their mouths or whatever. However, this challenge actually I think this is a rare thing for these compatibility challenges where it actually reveals a deep incompatibility because they have to spend a lot of time with their mouths close together. And normally they're like, no complaints about being so close to this super hot hunk of a man. And Madison is like, his mouth is disgusting. I
I
don't want to
think
be near it.
I think he needs a tongue scraper, which is rough feedback. And at this
Oof.
point, I was like, this relationship is doomed.
She's sort of like, maybe you can work on that, haha. But like, it's really hard to overcome the first impression of his mouth is disgusting.
Yeah,
Maybe he could globally work on his hygiene, but I think that's going to be something his future partners will benefit from.
I agree. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we are going to get into the boardroom.
And we're back. So, having won the challenge, the next morning, Cody and Madison head to the boardroom. They're very excited to have control for this first selection. And they have, unfortunately, sort of different ideas of what's going to happen. Cody, especially after their date, is like, because they do get a date as well as a reward. And he's like, this is incredible. She's definitely my perfect match. She's exactly who I wanted to be matched with. I just want to like carry this through to the end with her. And Madison is like, mouth yucky. No, thank you. I will be looking for a date elsewhere for
And
myself.
I truly do not blame her. I frankly think this is a smart move because they are bringing in two single men, which means that Madison will have the ability to jump ship because you are allowed to match yourself on a date in the boardroom.
And
They're
it's frowned upon. But I'm like, she barely knows this guy, Cody. What, she has loyalty to
fair
him and his
game. It's
disgusting
been
mouth?
one day, please. Not
Let
even a full day.
let the woman choose. So they have Jalen, Carrington, Freddie, and JR on the board. I think that Jalen is from Too Hot to Handle.
Yes. Carrington's
And
from Love Island.
yes, and of course, Freddie and JR from Love is Blind UK and The Ultimatum. So they put Juliet on a date with Carrington because she kind of ended up with Clayton by default, sort of like how Madison kind of ended up with Cody by default. And cut to Clayton bragging to the group about how he and Juliet were up until 3 a.m. talking. They know each other so well. They're basically life partners. And then she's like,
when's my
"When's—"
birthday, Clayton?
and he's like, the beginning of the year. And she's like, wrong. Wrong by the whole half of the year.
And she says, you're thinking about your ex-girlfriend. Susie's not here, Clayton. And he says, not yet. Oh, buddy, just wait. A different ex is going to come in.
Yeah, an even worse one in terms of how things ended. Yeah, that's rough. I do always think it's funny though. It is like well, how well do you really know her if you don't know her favorite color or her birthday? And I'm like, I don't know. That's like truly not high on the list of things that I bring up when I'm getting to know someone.
I do agree. I just also enjoy watching Juliet just like dominate Clayton.
I mean, it is a little bit fun, especially with what's about to happen. Revisiting that, I'm enjoying it even more. So Cody wants to put Sandy on the second date with JR. He doesn't seem to realize that she is his match from the ultimatum. He's kind of just like, they'd probably get along. They were both on the ultimatum.
What's funny is that some people, mostly the women, have like seen all the shows because they watch Netflix reality shows. So they'll come in and be like, oh, that's so and so's former partner, or oh,
Yeah,
they were on the same season, or oh, I saw her on that season. I don't think she's seriously looking for a relationship.
the men are
And some of
useless.
them just go in blind.
I will say the generational drop off with The Bachelor is obvious because I did not get the sense that like anyone knew that Rachel and Clayton were on the same season.
No, they really didn't seem to know. Like
But the Netflix
maybe
stuff
AD
people
did, but
The Netflix stuff people definitely seem to know, but it was not clear to me that anyone knew until they revealed that they had this, like, extremely public, high profile
I know. No, you're
situation on the
right.
show.
You're right.
And they seem to expect that people will know, but they don't. So Madison is not interested in this ultimatum matchup because she wants to put herself on the date. And a very salty Cody returns alone and tells the group that Juliet and Madison are the ones going on dates. And Clayton's not intimidated. He's like, what I bring is one in a billion.
Okay, sir.
I love his self confidence and the way that he's clearly like worked on himself to like
So
feel
do
that.
I. I have a soft spot for Clayton. I also did enjoy that Sandy comes up to him and is like, I love your dancing videos. I thought that was
Oh,
really
yeah,
cute.
that's cute. But I'm also sort of like, you weren't even Juliet's first choice in this small group. So like maybe the person who appreciates your one in a billion qualities is not her. So maybe you should be a little intimidated.
Look, Clayton is like, I've been to hell and back. I'm
Yeah.
not worried about this dating show.
I think that yeah, he doesn't seem to I feel like he needs to come back down to earth a little bit, but that's about to happen. Cody is sure that his perfect match is out there, but he no longer believes that it's Madison. How dare she, actually? But Madison's feeling good. She's like, this was my moment to make a better choice for myself. And I completely agree. And she made an excellent choice for herself. She chose
Freddie.
so well.
This is the thing. Like, I'm sorry. Cody versus Freddie. I'm taking Freddie every time. Also, Madison correctly identifies that if you don't swoop in on Freddie, someone else will.
He's gonna get swooped up. He's
Like,
gonna get
I'm sorry,
scooped.
I would do the exact same thing as
Yeah.
Madison because Freddie is a perfect angel.
And like he is the kind of guy, as we see, who there is a big advantage in scooping him up first because he's
He's
loyal.
loyal.
Yeah. He's as soon as he's had one conversation with you, he's like, how can I safeguard her feelings? Like, I really want to be here as a support for her in this moment. She is this is my mission is to make her happy now. Like, you've got to be in the right position to be that woman for him.
Exactly.
So this brings us to episode 2, and they're just setting off on these dates. Juliet and Carrington and Madison and Freddie. Juliet describes what she wants from this date as she's waiting. She wants someone muscular, tan, dark hair, no uggos allowed.
How charming.
I'm like, you don't even need to say that.
You're
They're
on a Netflix
You're
show.
on a
There's
Netflix dating show.
Yeah, everyone's hot. Don't worry.
Carrington describes himself as a self-aware douchebag. Again, charming. I love that for him. He loves
He
to love bomb. Like,
So, no red flags here.
it's not better if you know you're doing it. It's worse, actually.
He's like, one thing about me, I like to use abuse tactics.
Yeah, I'm an emotional terrorist, but that's just a choice I'm making for me to make me happy.
But honestly, Juliet and Carrington have a great time. They surf and kiss and like they seem to hit it off.
She likes sort of a bad boy, and Clayton is against type for her in that way. She's ready to have fun with a self-aware douchebag. Madison and Freddie are having like the best time. She is intrigued by the fact that he's a funeral director. She's a little offbeat, she's a little more alt. And so she's like, ooh, you have an offbeat job. Like, that's so quirky. I love that. And he seems to be responding to what she's
Yeah,
got
he's
going
into
on.
her. He's like they both make it clear that they're attracted to the other. And Freddie tells the camera that he has been single since the end of filming Love is Blind UK, which I believe was like the end of summer 2023. So it's been almost a year.
Almost a year of being single. Truly, how does he bear up? He has only the mourners to keep him company. And he does. I remember this from Love is Blind. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a funeral director, so I have a lot of empathy. I'm very empathetic."
Oh God, I love his accent.
It
Freddie.
makes it okay for him to describe himself as having empathy because he says it with such a cute accent. And
Honestly,
also
I believe
because
it. He does have empathy.
that's the other thing is that I'm like, it's easy to say. A lot of times when men say it, I'm like, that's a red flag because it's easy to say.
But
And it seems
we've
like you're
watched
upselling
him.
yourself, but I do believe it.
And unlike everyone on Perfect Match, we watching have seen Love is Blind UK season 1.
Yeah, we know what's going on. Back at the villa, the guys are sweating it. They know that there are new male options coming in. And as they head into the mixer, they are braced for potentially two of them to leave that night. And so they're all kind of trying to like cater to their couples. Ollie tells AD that he thought he was going to come in on Jack the Lad mode, but she really took him by surprise. And they are the first couple to match up. They're so cute together.
I love them.
Carrington makes a little play for Sandy, but Louis does prevail and they match. Daniel and Lucy match, Madison and Freddie match. And this leaves Juliet as kind of the bachelorette of the
Of the
of the
mixer.
of the mixer, of the group of C named men who remain, Carrington, Clayton, and Cody. And
Yeah.
she's like, I promised myself I'd stop dating men with C names. And now
And that's
she's
all I
like,
have.
all
I
I
have
have.
so many of them. I also enjoy that at one point she sits down with Clayton and she's like, I feel like I'm on The Bachelor. This is horrible.
It does seem horrible. It's all of these horrible men to choose from. Why isn't there a good one here? And so the boys are coming on really strong, especially Cody and Carrington. Clayton has that confidence of knowing he's one in a billion. So he's a
Yeah,
little
this is the one thing
more chill.
that Clayton actually plays well is that he decides to sit back.
Yeah. Cody tells Juliet that he feels like if he were with her, he could wake up smiling with his dick out. And she's like, "You would what?
She's like,
Why would your dick be
oh,
out?"
just instant ick.
Which is so funny because it feels like it has the structure of a sort of slang phrase or something. Like, not that he's like, "I'm going to wake up with my dick out," but that he's like it's a way of saying, like, I would just, like, wake up and
Yeah,
bound
wake
out of bed
up
ready to
and
take on the day. But she's like, "Why would you say it like that? That's so disgusting." But she does love his desperation. She did want men to fight over her. This is the closest that she gets. And then after sitting back for most of the night, Juliet and Clayton chat. And she ultimately decides that even though he's too deep and earnest, which are not the same thing, and I would argue that he is earnest, but I'm not so sure about the other thing.
no, they seem to on this show, they seem to believe that depth is just if you ask questions like, who are you?
Yeah.
And you just stare at someone. That's depth.
I actually find it somewhat troubling, verging on offensive, that there is this opposition set up between like
Fun.
humor and depth. Because I'm like, you can have incredibly deep humor and you can have incredibly shallow earnestness. Those
Also,
are
to
not
be truly funny, you actually need to have some depth.
right. It's actually quite easy to have an earnestness that skims right over the surface, but the best comedy plumbs the depths of human existence.
Exactly.
And not to say that the banter on the show usually does that, but I do think that the couples that have really good banter together are able to understand each other with a lot more depth than the couples that are stuck in these sort of like basic, serious
100%.
conversations.
Those are the couples that we see actually develop. So ultimately, Juliet decides that she and Clayton just haven't had enough time, and I just don't think she's that into any of them. So she's like, why switch it up?
Yeah.
So they match.
She's like, "I like Clayton, he's not my usual type, but, like, it's these other guys are, like, not the best options, so sure." And so Carrington and Cody are the ones who have to leave the villa. The next morning, everyone is happy, everyone's making out, and they head off to the next compatibility challenge, which is less physical, and so they make up for that with, like, a lot of, like, really overt lewdness in the questions.
Yeah,
They're
it
like
has to be
the
sexy.
the questions are all gonna be about sex. And so the men and women have answered these questions. Nick Lachey reads off the anonymous answers, and then they're also sort of displayed overhead. And then either the women or the men have to stand underneath the answer that resonates with them the most, or name the answer that resonates with them the most. And then the reveal is that the people from the other group, the men or the women, stand under the one that was their answer. Right.
Right. And the hope is that you are picking the answer that your partner gave.
Right, to show compatibility. This is sort of like tricky because a lot of the answers are pretty much the same, especially to certain
Yeah.
questions. And so
How
you're
do you
kind of just like,
differentiate between choking and like sexy choking?
right, exactly. Or like, obviously, my partner is going to be into like shower sex and not bath sex. Like, that's like a really important compatibility. Like, what are you talking about? Like, these are
It's
all basically the same things that they just happen to phrase differently.
And yet it does genuinely shake certain people, specifically
Yeah.
Juliet and Clayton, because again, Clayton is not humorous
I will
at
say
all.
it is true that it does genuinely surface how incompatible they are. And that's partly because Clayton is just very out of step with the rest of the group in his personality. He has like no humor of the sort, no like cheeky humor. That's not the nature of his humor, such as it is. And so he's giving these answers that kind of give her the ick. Like there's one that's like, what name do you give your penis? And the men are saying stuff like womb raider and hammerhead. And I'm like, ick, ick, ick. These all give me the ick. And then Clayton's is safe and secure. And I'm like, that also gives me the ick.
It all gives me the ick. I thought that was it Freddie that said dachshund?
I think that's a different one
Or
where
that's
they
a
have to
different
say like
question.
what they would compare it to, like what animal they would compare it to.
Yeah, I don't remember. I guess I don't remember what Freddie
There
said
are
for this
way
one,
too
but
many questions about, like, animals or names for their penis. But, yeah, tends to strike a note that I like more, and I
and that
wanted to
many
see
of the
more,
women
which is, like,
like.
just be a little cheeky in a way that's not so, like, aggressive and violent, like, I'm literally going to raid your womb with my hammerhead, which is, like,
Hammerhead is
terrifying
horrifying.
and violent.
I don't want a hammerhead anywhere near me, and especially my genitals.
Yeah, but, like, safe and secure is, like, you're not even participating in the game.
Safe and secure, I am picturing like just like a limp dick like flopping its way in the vicinity of
Yeah,
the
like,
vaginal
that's the
canal. Like,
safest
I don't
dick is a
know.
soft limp dick, like, let's be
Yeah.
honest, but that doesn't mean that's what I want. Like, I think that there is sometimes like, this is, like, the nice guy fallacy, right? Which is, like, women want to feel safe and secure in bed with you, and, like, yeah, but that's, like, the baseline. That's not the selling point, that's the baseline. It's, like,
Right.
baseline of
That's like
safe and
naming your
secure.
dick like I'm not a predator. You're like, yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah, no, I assumed actually, otherwise we
Yeah.
wouldn't be even having this conversation. You need to find some level of, like, a unique offer, a level of individualization beyond the baseline of "I'm not going to hurt you." Like, something that indicates what kind of fun we'd have, for example. So I found that particular question just horrifying across the board, but AD does select Womb Raider, which is Ollie's answer, and generally, this does seem like it's kind of speaking to someone. Like, he has this kind of sense of humor about sex that is a little bit, like, forward and explicit, and
And
she
she's into
responds to
it.
that. She likes it. She's like, "I feel like that's, like, horrible, but also I'm into it," and, like, that does speak to how they mesh. So I'm like, maybe I'm being too hard on this challenge.
She does super well. She I think picks Ollie's answers like 4 times,
She knows him.
which is very impressive because again, it's really hard to differentiate the answers from
Yeah.
each other.
Sometimes it's just like lion or a lion. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Or
how are
like
you
lion
differentiating?
or tiger or panther,
Yeah.
all for the same reason.
They're all big cats in bed
Yeah.
except for like, yeah, I think that's when Freddie is the dachshund because it's like long and thin or
No,
something.
it's like
I don't know.
long and sweet or
Well,
something like
yeah.
that. It's funny. A lot of and then I think Louis is like an elephant because if you know, you know.
Yeah. So, somehow in all of this, AD manages to pick Ollie's answers like every time or almost every time. He does much less well on AD's and he is frustrated. But I felt like their questions were even more generic. They weren't as geared toward getting the women to show their sense of humor.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there's one question about like what they would do for their man after a tough day. And it's basically all some version of a good meal and sex, except for the one that just says a good meal. And I'm
Well,
like,
Madison's does say lingerie underneath sweatpants.
that is sex. Like, she's offering sex. Like, you know
And
what I
one
mean?
is a blowjob.
Sex. So, like, basically, they're all offering the same thing. And you just have to be like, which specific
Framing of
presentation,
sex.
framing of sex. Like, it's the same thing. Like, your girl says, oh, I'm going to greet you with a glass of wine and a home cooked meal and sex. Or I'm going to greet you with like a drink and a blowjob. Like, I think you'd be, if that's what you want, either answer
Pretty
is the right
happy either
answer.
way. I don't know. I think that Nick Lachey would take issue with you.
Well, so Daniel's like, I assume if I'm having sex, a blowjob is on the table, and Nick Lachey is like, you're clearly not married yet. Yuck, 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 yuck.
Ha ha ha
Married women don't do
ha. Women get
blowjobs.
frigid once they get married. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nick.
And God forbid, if you've been at work all day, you do deserve a blowjob. You should write that into your marriage contract. She should never get to take that off the table. But there something like coalesces, which is that the women are into Freddie's answers and the men are into Sandy's answers. Like Sandy knows what men want, Freddie knows what women want.
And I
Sandy's written
do
by a
honestly
man.
believe that.
Freddie, as Madison points out, is written by a woman. I
He
believe that,
is.
yeah. Because he does, he has this, he sometimes is able to strike that note of like funny but not aggressive in his answers that are sexual, that feels like approachable, but still like he's having fun with it.
Yeah, and
That
like
is like
still
really appealing
sexy.
to
He's not
women.
like neutering himself.
Right.
But he's also, yeah, he's not being overly aggressive.
Yeah. Um, and so obviously Madison is pretty pleased because everyone wants Freddie, the man written by a woman, and he belongs to her. So, oh, one other moment that was really funny is when they compare themselves to animals. Madison says that if she were an animal, she'd be a seahorse because she wants to impregnate a man.
I loved this.
How could you not love Madison?
And all the men are legitimately horrified. I was like, guys, she can't actually turn into a seahorse and impregnate you. Ollie
she's
is like
being
giving
cheeky.
interviews like, Freddie needs to run for the hills. Like, calm down, Ollie.
He truly needs to calm down. She's not going to impregnate him. Although it does go to show that the audience for Mpreg fic is not straight men because they
Certainly
are
not.
not intrigued by that at all.
I did also enjoy another moment where Lucy reveals that she's very into vibrating butt plugs. And all of the men are like scandalized by this, which, first of all, fuck right off. And she gives a
They
very
should be
funny.
happy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And she gives a very funny interview where she's like, maybe I'll get a brand deal. Use my code, Lucy20.
I mean,
was
she
like,
will
I
probably.
would love you to get a butt plug sponsorship, girl. Get that
Yeah,
back.
you should mention a specific product as often as possible if you're trying to, turn this into a career. So ultimately the results are given out like individually, like which person's answers were the most compatible with what you wanted. So for Daniel, it was Sandy. For Lucy, it was Freddie. For Clayton, it was Sandy. For Juliet, it was Freddie. For Louis, it was Sandy, and for Sandy, it was Louis. So they put each other first in their responses. Freddie, Madison, Madison, Freddie also. AD and Ollie also had each other as the most common response, and they have the most
Yeah,
for
I
each
think they
other,
win
so they
by
win.
1 point.
Because she, like, just knocked it out of the park. She carried that challenge on her back. And that night, Madison and Freddie just really kind of, like, revel in their newfound connection. She is falling hard. She's
I
like,
could
"He's
feel
a
it. I was like, "Oh
unicorn."
no. Oh no, Madison, this is gonna be, like, tough for you because he's definitely gonna get sent on a date and you're gonna be
Yeah.
sad."
Yeah, especially because AD and Ollie are gonna be in the boardroom, and they're looking to fuck shit up. They are not here to be like, "Who has the weakest connection? Let's do her a favor or him a
No,
favor."
there's like, who has the strongest connection that might be a threat to us winning this game? Let's test it.
And also, I think personally, they don't like Madison at this point, and they want her to leave.
Specifically, Ollie. Ollie, I think he doesn't like what she did to Cody, and also apparently is very disturbed that she wants to impregnate a man as a
You
seahorse.
can't keep her around. What if she discovers that she has the seahorse ability overnight and he's the closest man available? Like, it's just, you can't risk it, you know?
Exactly. It's too dangerous.
He should think about how it feels to be a woman. We literally could be impregnated by a man at, like,
I
any
know.
moment.
I
It's
was like,
fucking
my God, the way
terrifying.
these men are reacting in abject fucking horror at the very idea of
I
being
know.
pregnant. I was like, and then they're like, I do want a basketball team of children.
Well, to be fair, it was the woman who said that in that
That is true. But
conversation.
like, I'm just
And
saying,
she
a
was
lot
like,
of
"I
these
want
men,
all boys.
uh,
Like, get
God,
out
I
of here."
hated that. But a lot of these men are like, yes, I definitely want kids. Be pregnant?
I know.
Disgusting.
Listen, women are so strong. Like, the things that we must do in this world that men could never handle,
They could
could
never.
never handle. And the idea of it is like truly a horror movie to them.
Yeah, like just the casual suggestion.
Yeah. I'm like, remember that feeling that you have, the horror at the idea of being pregnant every day that your partner is pregnant in the future, and think of what you can do to ease that nightmare for her.
Exactly.
So, Adie and Ollie go on a churros date and make the crispiest churros ever. Like, you can hear them shatter in the mouth. And I'm sure they're still delicious. And the next day, they head to the boardroom. So they're ready to break up some couples, and they have four ladies up on the board. Rachel from The Bachelorette, who tells the camera, "As long as you've cried in front of a camera, you're my type." This isn't really the crowd for that, which makes it understandable why she ends up doing what she does. Not a lot of big criers on this season of Perfect Match among the
No.
men.
Lucy, though.
Among the
That's why they're
men.
soulmates.
Right. Lucy's her soulmate. Alex from Temptation Island, again, the one who was in the notorious and deeply viscerally upsetting bathroom threesome. Hannah from The Mole, who had a thing with Tony from Battle Camp.
Yeah, I guess he was also on the mole.
Okay. And they kind of dismiss her more quickly because they
AD
want,
has seen the show and
yeah,
she's like, I don't.
she's just gonna like play men like a fiddle, and we don't.
Yeah.
She was looking to break up Freddie and Madison with someone who's like a really legitimate option for him, who will seem better than Madison.
Yeah.
And then we have QT from The Circle and Battle Camp. So they decide to send Freddie on a date with Rachel because she gives wholesome and wifey, and also because of she was on the same show as Clayton. Like, maybe they'll also have some compatibility.
So it's unclear whether AD knows the extent to which Clayton and Rachel have been involved. What she says is like, imagine Rachel coming into the house and Clayton's face when he sees her walk in.
Yeah. So she knows it's definitely going to disrupt the Clayton and Juliet situation in some regard.
Also, AD is a millennial. So
That's
if anyone has watched The Bachelor, it's her.
True. And so Ollie is clearly really attracted to Alex. And I mean, who wouldn't be? Like, that's kind of the consensus going forward, is like literally everyone, including the women, are like, I'm attracted to Alex. But he's really pushing for Alex to go on a date with Louis. And she is like, you just want Alex in the house. Like, I'm not an idiot. and I
And
don't
he
like
definitely
it.
does.
He definitely does. He even says later, like, I was maybe going to put her on a date with myself, but AD was standing right there. So I couldn't do it.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie. Jack the Lad mode activated. So they end up sending Louis and Alex on the date, even though AD pushes really hard for QT. And that brings us to episode 3. Ollie and AD return and announce that Freddie and Louis will be going on the dates. And Sandy's nervous because she knows that Louis likes shiny new things, even though she just made him a mango penis platter. I'm like, what
So
could be
thoughtful.
better? And he's like, yeah, I do like a little bit of like toxic jealousy. So let's see what happens.
Madison does not take the news that Freddie's going on a date well.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like prepared to experience the ruthlessness of the game. She's ready to like enact it a little bit and be like, this is my chance to pounce. But she's not braced for Freddie to be presented with
No.
a shiny new thing. So she walks off crying and she's like, it's hard not to take it personally. Freddie goes to comfort her. And Ollie's back with the group, like making fun of her. He's like, oh, it's like Louis going off to war. Like, I'll write to you, my darling. When will I see you again? And it is sort of funny, but I am uncomfortable with how much Ollie seems to dislike Madison, and I can't pinpoint why it is.
I know. I'm like, did something happen that we aren't seeing? Did someone tip him off that she like wasn't the most well liked on her show? Because again, it hadn't aired when they filmed
Yeah.
this. I don't know what's going on, but the
And I
vibe
do
like
feel like
gets
it's AD
better
as
over
well.
time.
Like I feel like maybe
Yeah.
AD is tapped into the net American like Love is Blind network and would know the gossip, but also I'm just like it does come off as they all feel like she's a bad person for not sticking with Cody, and I just think that's ridiculous.
I
Like
agree.
he has a really good connection and he's like, I wanted to put myself on a date with this hot woman. Like you think she should have stayed with this man that she was matched with for one night and felt nothing for? Like she's a
Right.
bad
Who she's
person now?
actively not into. I mean, please.
I don't understand. But he says in his confessional that he thinks Madison is manipulating Freddie with her tears and playing on Freddie's kindness, and he hopes Freddie finds someone better. Did you like feel like he had any validity here?
I mean, not really that I saw. Like I don't know, maybe I'm being too generous, but like I did think it was a bit of an overreaction. Like it is a game.
Yeah.
People are allowed to send people on dates. I do think you have to kind of just accept that. And it's like, it's okay. I don't think that Madison had any right to be like resentful towards AD and Ollie. But on the other hand, I don't know, people have emotional reactions. Like,
Yeah, I was really put off by the idea that, like, because a woman is crying, she is being
inherently
manipulative.
manipulative.
And,
Yeah,
like,
that
if he
just
feels
bothers
bad for
me.
her, then she is, like, conniving to exploit his kindness in some way. That all reeked of, like, pretty misogynistic stereotypes to me.
I agree. I mean, as a big crier, especially, I'm like, no, sometimes you just cry and it's not a calculation to manipulate someone's emotions. And it's like actually very frustrating when people read that into something that sometimes you literally just like your emotion just comes out your eyeballs and you can't really help it. I also think that Freddie is genuinely into her.
I do think well, and I know that Ollie and Freddie are good friends from the show, and so he's clearly feeling a little bit like he feels protective of
Protective.
Freddie. He wants to find the best match for him. But I'm also, yeah, I was bothered by that, and I think that when the men have emotions that come out as like anger or
Well, that's
irritation,
allowed.
that's allowed. Like, of course, he's going to be like
That's not
pissy with
manipulative.
AD when she gets sent off on a date. That's not manipulative. Well, aren't you trying to make it unpleasant for her that she's going off another date to like make her feel like she has to choose you? Like, it's
I
that's
know.
not the case for you. That's just normal human reaction. But when Madison's crying, when a woman's crying, that's manipulation. So Freddie and Louis head off on their dates. Alex is exactly Louis's type, a hot brunette, and he is exactly her type, a hot brunette. So they mostly just like giggle and touch legs under the water in the pool. Freddie and Rachel have a portrait painting date, which is always absolutely hysterical.
Also, I want to say that they gave Freddie a portrait painting date with someone who's not Madison after he and Madison have an entire conversation about the fact that they want to paint each other.
That is so funny. Oh my God. These people are diabolical. So she's like, "Are you creative?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And she's like, "I'm not. You'll have to help me." They are both equally creative at painting portraits. I will tell you that. She paints the whites of his eyes bright green while telling him about her career. She's like, "Growing up, people always thought that I meant that I wanted to be a flight attendant." And I was like, "No, I want to be a pilot." And I'm like, that is crazy. She's like 30 and she was growing up in the girl power era, and people were like, "You can't be a pilot, sweetie. You're a
You're a
girl."
girl.
He paints her face as orange as a clementine, and
She got a lot of spray tans in this portrait.
she loves it. And after the dates, they head back, and Alex shows up, and Sandy's stomach immediately drops to her ass, which it is constantly doing. Her stomach is in her ass more than it's in her stomach.
Yeah, I'd say a good like 75% of the time.
Yeah. AD is also flipping out and telling all the women that Ollie clearly wants Alex. She's like, he was picking for the boys. Like, he is attracted to her. None of us is safe. Poor QT. She's like, I was trying to choose someone that no one would want.
Yeah.
I will say that probably Alex is more Louis's type. And he's tempted, and he's really making Sandy sweat. He sits her down and he's like, I really like you, but Alex is my type, and I just don't know my decision yet. I have to keep exploring. And Alex is making a hard sell. She's like, I'm loyal to a fault, but I know I can't expect a man to be loyal for life, so free threesomes for life.
It is super wild to hear some of these women like make the pitch for themselves.
They're like, I will never cheat on you, and I will not expect you to be loyal to me.
Yeah, they're
Interested?
always like, I am so chill. And also, I love giving blowjobs.
Yeah. You're like, you want to see me make out with girls? I think girls are sexy. How about that? I bet Sandy doesn't think girls are sexy. And they'll be like, "Oh, do you hear her saying that? That's toxic. That's a red flag." Like the men do that also. They're like, "Oh, he's upset you're going on the date. Sounds a little insecure. You don't want that." So while they're talking, Louis and Alex overhear Sandy venting, saying basically like the money line is that she doesn't know if Alex can handle all of him. Like she's like, "Oh, you want him? Like sure, but like can you really handle all of him?" Which he immediately takes as like Sandy doesn't like my personality, which is interesting because like I do actually see how you could read it that way. That
I
isn't
don't think
how I
that's,
read it.
it's not how I read it. And I don't think that's how Sandy meant it.
I don't think that's how she meant it either. At first, I was like, why would he think that's what she meant? And I'm like, I guess I could see being like, oh, it's
He
hard to handle him, sounds sort of like personality. But it seems as I'm
I feel like
listening
he's
to
reading it
her,
as like,
she doesn't actually
oh,
like
she
me.
thinks I'm too much.
Yeah, she thinks that she'd have to like put up with me. And I was reading it more as like he is a very like in demand like guy with a lot going on, and it wouldn't necessarily be easy to be
Yeah,
his partner. It's already not easy. She's already like he likes new shiny things and he can get them, and that's hard. I have to like swallow a lot of my pride to wait for him to decide to come back to me. And that's sort of how I read that.
I agree.
Ollie has also been salivating over Alex and flirting with her and this and that. But ultimately, he's like, AD is so funny and smart and kind and nurturing and amazing and wonderful. I just don't want to explore anyone else. And I'm
Good
like,
choice, Ollie.
good choice. Well, it really seemed like you did want to explore someone else.
He does, but I think he genuinely does. And also he's like, wait, but AD will be done with me if I do
Yeah.
this.
And
And I don't want that.
yeah, like he's enjoying getting to know Alex, but he's like, am I really like gonna switch up on AD with everything that she
I
offers?
think he's hoping Louis will switch up.
Right, that's the hope. Clayton and Rachel are finally reunited when Freddie
This
comes in from his date.
this entire series of events was beyond wild to me. I think I
Crazy.
watched these episodes like a little ahead of you, and I was just texting you like, "Oh my god. Oh my god, Clayton and Rachel, this is crazy."
I was still not prepared for what happened. I think that I thought that there must have been, like, an argument? I don't know. I was like there was no part of me that was truly expecting what happens here. So, she walks in, they see each other, they're both stricken. It doesn't seem like either of them at all suspected that the other person could possibly be there, and it really does seem like most or all of the people present don't even realize that they were on the same season.
Which is so crazy because it was such a like,
It was, like, in the news.
yeah.
It happened, like, it was huge. And at first, it seems like they're just uncomfortable because it was a tough breakup and maybe there are some hard feelings. And she's like, "Okay, I'll come talk to you." And he's, like, freaking out. He's like, "I did not expect her to be here. This is so wild. All the shit that went down on my season that I told you about, that was with her. Like, I feel like someone's trying to come get me, like, why would you do this to me?" But then Ollie and Louie ask Clayton if he'd ever get back with her, and he says he doesn't know.
Sir.
And that's when I was like, "Oh, shit. What do you mean you don't know?"
I mean,
Wow.
also they must have I mean, like I was trying to think of the timeline
Mhm.
because Clayton's season of The Bachelor premiered January 2022. So it filmed in fall 21. And it's sort of, it was a good reminder to me that like the emotional trauma and the reverberations of that extend so far beyond the show for some of these
Yeah.
relationships. Like Rachel was clearly still working through what had gone down between her and Clayton as of summer 24.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost 3 years ago, but, like, it was a really big, public, humiliating end to a relationship that she thought might end in marriage, and she hasn't been in, like, a serious relationship that we know of since, which I think can
No,
also
The
like
Bachelorette was disastrous for her.
oh my god, which, like, compounds it, right? So instead, you're still trying to, like, make sense of these 2 big, painful, relationships that ended in this public way, and there's nothing that's really, like, come to kind of help you process like, get move past that,
Right.
and here she is trying to move past it, and here's fucking Clayton being like, "Maybe I get back with her, I don't know."
Think
You
it the
don't
fuck through,
know?
Clayton. You should know.
And then he says this in a confessional. "Much of the audience thought I should have chosen Rachel because they felt that the chemistry just poured through the screen. The only person that seemingly didn't understand why people thought that way was me. So it makes me wonder if I missed out." I'm like, "Clayton, if you didn't feel the chemistry, why are you listening
Right,
to
leave her
us?
alone. Leave
Leave
her
her
alone. You
alone."
actually know better. You actually know better than the audience
Like,
does.
sure, I was one of the people who saw the chemistry. Maybe it was just Rachel. Maybe I was responding to Rachel's behavior with him. If you didn't feel the chemistry, don't listen to the audience. They're also responding to musical cues. They're responding to editing choices. You're going to put Rachel through this again because you didn't feel anything with her, but maybe some other people know better?
And she looks like genuinely shaken in her body to see him.
Yeah.
You're like,
She's
you
like,
put this woman through actual hell. You have to tread very lightly.
I'm like, "Stay away get a job, stay away from her. Like, do not cross the
Do not
line.
pass
Do
go.
not pass go." Even now, after all these years, you're like, "Chemistry? What chemistry? Like, leave her alone." But no, they sit and talk, and it seems like they had, like, crossed paths a year prior, as these people often do. They'd kind of talked things out and buried the hatchet. But apparently there is still some uncertainty there. They haven't fully gotten closure, and he tells her that he still cares for her, and Rachel says she truly loved him and she knows how badly he could hurt her and she doesn't want that again. And then Clayton says that he doesn't want to hurt her, but, quote, "I know everything happens for a reason. It's the screensaver on my phone." Oh, if it's your screensaver.
Also,
You picked that screensaver, Clayton. That doesn't mean anything. It's not like
I'm
the
sorry.
tablet's given down to like Moses from heaven. It's you picked that screensaver. It's not a sign.
Okay, not only that, but like you need to remind yourself of the phrase everything happens for a reason.
Oh my
Like
god.
it's out there.
He's like putting the figurative post-it notes all of affirmations all over his life. Clayton,
I
no.
I'm not even a Clayton hater, but like
No, I'm not.
dude,
But
come
this was
on.
hard. This was brutal. I was really, really, really not pleased with Clayton after
Oh,
this arc.
especially after we
But
see this go a little
even
further.
here, I was just like, "What are you doing? Like,
No, truly,
what are
what
you
are you
doing?
doing?
Maybe you'll get to know her more if someone else brings her into the house. But right now, you are suddenly making a hard play to match with her based on your screensaver and how surprised you are to see her. And some people who watched the show thought that you had more chemistry than you
You can
did.
tell that Clayton is the kind of guy who's like, wait, if people thought we had chemistry and now she's here, it's fate. Like he tells himself a little story.
He tells
He
himself
tells
a
himself a little
story.
story and he's like, oh, what a beautiful story. I've got to follow the story. What could the ending be? Clayton.
This is not a story. You are a
Clayton.
human. He does not know what he wants. He is looking for cues everywhere. Can she tell me who I should be with? Can they tell me who I should be with? Can the way that the production has set this up, can that tell me who to be with? Like
It's
in a
wild.
rom-com, if she showed up here, it would be because we were supposed to actually find each other
So
again after all these years. So I
I
guess
guess
that's
we
what's
are.
happening. Clayton, that has nothing to do with whether you want Rachel at all. It's, like, so easy to trick him into thinking that maybe he should be in love with someone.
I know.
Like, you see again why his season was a disaster, and, like, he hasn't actually learned. That's the painful thing. He thinks he's learned. He thinks he's learned a really hard lesson. He's like, "I'm not gonna repeat patterns." He does the exact
And
same
then he
fucking
does.
thing.
No, it's so disheartening, honestly.
It's like, maybe men can't learn. You just have to hope that they are already fully baked into a decently emotionally intelligent person. He tells her that he thinks they should match, and she puts her face in her hands and groans, and it's like, "Oh, Clayton." And at this point, Juliet interrupts, and Clayton sends her away so that he can keep explaining to Rachel that they've both changed and he has more emotional intelligence now. A take that
Sir.
ages like milk. Like, one of the takes that ages the absolute worst that I've
Yeah, one
ever
of the
seen on
worst.
reality TV. No, never have I seen a take age so badly so quickly.
Ugh.
But most of all, he's like, "We must be supposed to fall in love because we're both here. It must mean something, right, Rachel? Like, let's give this another shot. I think we
And
should match."
and this like makes her go back into her story that she told about
Yeah.
this relationship that she has clearly worked really hard to try and move past.
Yeah. She's like, I really loved him. I've always wondered, what if we met in a different setting? What if he had chosen me? How would my life be different? What would that look like?" And I'm like, "Oh, Rachel."
But also I get it. Oh, I get it. And it's like so hard to resist the pull of that narrative, especially if you're not the one who has gone after it, right? Like she's
Yeah.
saying like don't do this to me again. I don't know. And he's like, "No.
Yeah.
Maybe we're meant to be. I've changed. I want you."
There are certain signs that are telling me that I will probably start wanting you in the future. That's how it works in this kind of story. This is why we can't imbue rom-coms, we can't imbue romantic stories with too much meaning. They make us terrible at understanding our own desires.
Yeah, that's the thing. You do still have to tap into yourself and like separate your own
Yeah.
feelings from like the story.
And that is actually the classic thing that rom-coms are usually trying to show you. The main character that you're like screaming at, like, "You're so dumb. Of course you're supposed to be with this guy or this girl." In the world of the movie, they are always paying attention to the wrong story and not what they
Exactly.
actually want or feel.
Ay, ay, ay.
So Clayton dumps Juliet by saying, "I do feel like I will match with Rachel if she wants." You feel that way? You feel like you will?
And Juliet's just like, okay, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, she's mad. She's like, "You could have gotten back with her at any time. Why are you doing this now?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, I just that's what I feel." And
He's like,
she's
I don't
like
know. There's a sign. I gotta.
and now everything's just, like, upsetting because she's like, "This is humiliating. I don't want your apology because 'cause you're not sorry, and I'm not hurt by you. I'm just mad that I chose you. I'm hurt that I chose you. You're an asshole. You always will be." And I'm like, "Wow, Clayton, it's incredible how quickly you become, like, the guy who is just doomed to horribly dump women on reality dating shows. Like, no one else has had this
I
reaction to a
know. How is
dumping."
this just you? What are
He
you
just
doing?
I do think there is something that feels very like he thinks he's being, like, very mature and transparent that
He
actually
definitely thinks
triggers
he
rage
is.
in women.
Yeah.
They're like, "You think that you are being such a good dude about this, but you are being
But you're
so"
not.
Yeah, you're not. You're being so, like,
It's
cold,
also
actually, and inconsiderate.
condescending.
Condescending, yes. Like, it feels
Fucking
like there
Clayton.
actually isn't much thought about the emotional space that the woman is in, aside from,
No,
like,
he's
"I'm
like,
so sorry I did this to you." It's all about, like, "I feel like I'm gonna do this because like, I'm feeling this and that, and it's significant in this way." There isn't that much attention to, like, their relationship and why it's not working out. And it's very, like, dismissive in a way that I don't think he intends at all, but it's crazy how he keeps leaving women
no,
feeling
he's like
so
clearly
disregarded.
he thinks he's growing. He really like thinks he's doing something,
Yeah.
but he's just he
And
can't stick the
I
landing.
think also there is, a fear that he has of leading women on that gets him in trouble because he sometimes is a little too quick to write them off in a way that
Yeah.
makes them feel like he hasn't really given them a chance or due consideration, and he's like, "This is the kind thing, I'm just cutting it off as soon as I can," and they're like, "What?" Like, "We went on 1 date, what's happening?" Like, I don't know. He doesn't ever give things a chance to, like, develop naturally.
No, and he ultimately ends up like shooting himself in the foot on this show for
Yeah.
that exact reason. But Rachel and Clayton do agree to match
He tells her they had a lot of chemistry, and I'm like, "No,
according to the audience.
tell her you don't feel that way, but you've heard that a lot from social media.
He's
Be
like, the people on
honest.
Instagram believe we have chemistry.
We've always had a lot of chemistry, or so I've been told by observers." And then we do get a scene in their room together where she points out that she has new boobs, and he's like, "Yeah, I've kept tabs on your
That was
boobs."
funny. Yes, Rachel was very open about her breast reduction.
Yes, and she looks great, by the way,
She
like,
does.
thriving.
She also just seems like she has that like I'm almost 30, I'm coming into myself feel.
Yeah,
It's so different than like where we saw her when we first met her on The
yeah.
Bachelor.
I do, like, I feel I hate saying this because I just, like, I want Rachel to really thrive, and I want to, like, see her thriving, and it reminded me a little bit of, like, seeing Kaylor on Beyond the Villa the last week when we were discussing it, where I was like, she seems like someone who was happier before she went on reality TV, and she hasn't, like,
Mm.
gotten back to a place where she's, like, fully past that or has fully made peace
Yeah,
with
I
that.
do sort of have a sense that this experience though was like helpful to
I'm
her on
glad.
this journey because she
Yeah.
seems and now we're obviously a year later and like she seems really good.
Yeah. Which is I mean, if this is a stepping stone to that, then that's I love that for her. Um, so Freddie and Madison do end up matching. Obviously Rachel has is now otherwise occupied, but they do seem like they also would have been a good match.
Yeah.
Um, but Freddie and Madison are locked in. Louis is the one who's taking like forever to decide. And finally, Sandy pulls him to chat and he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to do like a throuple with
Louis.
Alex?" And she's like, "Zero, negative chance." Like, is that an option if you can convince two people
No.
to do a throuple with you? Can they both stay? That would really mix things up. He's like, "That sucks." I'm like, "Oh, I bet it really sucks for you, Louis." And then he admits that he overheard her say that she has to deal with him and that he really didn't like that. That makes him feel bad. And Sandy apologizes. She's like, "I know that was a hard conversation for you to hear." She's like, "I promise it's not that I don't like you or that I'm just trying to tell you I like you because I wanna stay, like, that's not what that is at all." She's like, "It's hard because it's you. You can get anyone you want. You're fun. You're that guy." So in my head, I'm like, "Don't really let him in, but I do, like, really feel a connection with you, and it's difficult." And this seems to, like, really allay his fears.
I also think it's honest. Like, I think a lot of what we see from Sandy is her putting up her defense mechanisms preemptively. She's like, Louis
Yeah.
is someone who could really easily hurt me. I'm not going to let him.
Yeah. She doesn't wanna take him too seriously because she's like, "Wouldn't that be crazy to take this, like, 23-year-old too hot to handle stud
Right.
seriously? He's gonna hurt me." But his feelings were really hurt, and so to hear her say that, like, she does really like him and she's just doesn't wanna be hurt by him is very comforting, and he's like, "Ultimately, I don't wanna lose what I have with Sandy," so they match, and he feels they're stronger than ever.
I'm kind of into this pairing, honestly. They really grew on me over the
Me
course of these 6
too.
episodes.
So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, the rest of this batch of episodes.
And we are back, and we head right into the next compatibility challenge, which is one of those blind kissing challenges. Everyone
Yes.
has to kiss everyone. They're wearing like blindfolds and noise canceling
And that
headphones.
does nothing to change the fact that people know what hairstyles and facial hairstyles their partners have and what outfits they're wearing. Like everyone except for Lucy knows who their partner is.
Poor Lucy.
Also, really funny moment where Freddie is like, I think it's an eating challenge and I think we have it in the bag because I have 13 boiled eggs in the morning and a tomato. Why
13.
13? A baker's dozen of eggs? That's expensive.
That's
I
that's
guess
crazy. That's like Gaston levels of eggs.
That's insane. But I mean, he does sort of have the Gaston physique, and the mild-mannered, personality of
Actually, no one in
well,
that
no
story.
one in that story. Maurice? Uh, Louis is horrified by the reveal because, as he says, he's hygienophobe. He's terrified of being clean. No, the other way.
He's a
He's
germaphobe.
a germaphobe. And so they all go down the line and make out with each other, and mostly everyone knows who their match is, so they're giving each other 10s. AD and Ollie give each other 10s. Daniel gives Lucy a 10, and Lucy scored Daniel a 9 and Ollie a 10. And she admits that she thought it was Daniel because he hugged her at the end. And Daniel is furious. Like, he is not able to laugh this off at all.
It Daniel sort of freaks me out when he gets angry at Lucy.
I know. I was like, "This is too much too fast." Like, I'm no longer into the Daniel and Lucy thing. I was like, "She needs to run." Like, if he's gonna behave this way over this so early, no, absolutely
And
not.
it was like, yes, it is sort of insane that she didn't
No, of course, it's kind of
realize that
crazy,
like Ollie has a beard.
but, like, why are you
But also,
so
who
mad at her?
cares?
To me, this merits maybe, like, a little light annoyance, and then you shake it off, or you are able to,
Yeah.
like, tease her about it and be like, "You're such a dummy." But, like, he is really mad, and it's unsettling. Like, if anything, like, genuinely more upsetting happened, I would be scared. Like,
That's the
the
thing.
reaction is so intense. He goes ice cold in front of everyone, and
It's
she keeps being like,
alarming.
"Oh, I hate this game, like, oh no, this is
Poor
terrible." It's like, it
Lucy.
shouldn't be that big of a deal. This is a much bigger deal, actually. Rachel gave Clayton her high score and is like, "He's an amazing kisser, it was like dreaming." He scored Sandy the highest, and
And he
apparently actually
scored
scored
Rachel
Rachel quite low.
like one of the lowest.
That would make me really mad, but
It seems like that's not necessarily revealed like
yeah.
to everyone, but Clayton tells us and maybe like
But
Sandy or
he's not like, "Oh, I thought it was you." He's like, "It was just a really amazing kiss with Sandy," and Rachel's like, "Okay, ha ha ha."
oh yeah. No, and then it like he seems to immediately be like, well, I guess it's over between me and Rachel.
Well, his intuition has received another sign. We'll get into it. Freddie and Madison scored each other 10s. Louis gave Sandy a 10, and she gave him a 9 and Clayton a 10. I think 9, that's gotta sting a little bit. Like, wasn't he at least
Also, I'm
kissing
like,
her
wow,
well?
Is Clayton just a really good kisser?
Apparently.
Good for you, Clayton.
And so there's a twist, which is that the winners are the most compatible non-couple because they're supposed to keep their options open. And so Sandy and Clayton win a date and boardroom control. This brings us to episode 4, which starts with Clayton and Sandy on a little camping date with a vintage camper. Very classic, like Netflix romantic date setup. Clayton is like, yeah, I'll spend the night here with Sandy. It's looking pretty good. Sure, I'll do it. And Sandy's like, I feel nothing for Clayton. Less than nothing.
She's like, we had a good kiss, but I'm not trying to date him or
Yeah.
kiss him again, even.
Clayton is like, maybe our kissing chemistry is a sign. And Sandy responds that she cares for him a lot, but their connection is just not as good as her connection with Louis.
Duh.
She's like, it's like magnets, you know? Either you attract, like Louis and I, or you repel,
Like you and I.
He's like, yes, got it, absolutely. He does. This is when he admits to her that he rated
Right.
Rachel's second lowest at 6. And he's got to trust his intuition on that. So he's ready to put himself on a date in the boardroom. And he is so
Okay,
psyched to put
sir.
himself on a date in the boardroom. He's like, it's coming. When will these people figure out that it's a pattern? 2 girls just came in. 2 boys are coming in next time. You're not going to get to go on a date. You're not going to get to dump Rachel and then go on a date
Right.
with another hottie.
It's too early for the twists.
Yeah. It's a bad look. He has already like emotionally moved on from Rachel because of one bad kiss, which
And
has
she has
changed
no
his
idea.
intuition. His intuition is now diametrically opposite to what it was before.
I prefer diametrically.
Diametrically. That night, Daniel is still pissed at Lucy. Still, she tries to talk to him about it while he's showering, and she's like, I don't want things to be awkward. And he responds, I'm not making it awkward. I didn't do anything. You're upset because you did something wrong, which is an insane gloss on the situation. She didn't do something wrong. And he is making it awkward with his behavior towards her.
Right.
You can say you also made it awkward because it was really awkward that you somehow confused me and Ollie. But like you are also definitely contributing to the awkwardness by icing her out.
This really upset me.
Zero
It's just
accountability. He's like,
mean.
it's mean. He's being mean and hurtful. And then he's like, well, I'm upset because I genuinely actually care and I was made to look like a fool in front of everybody.
He's very concerned with looking like a fool in front of other people. This is a theme.
Yeah. And what if Lucy humiliates him by doing something other than being like, oh, Daniel, the minute I felt the caress of your manly lips, I knew it was you, you stud. Like no other man could compare. She didn't do that, and that's sexually humiliating and emasculating to him. And now she has to suffer for that. I'm like, Lucy, you need to run. But she's like, he's a kind, caring, rational person. He's not. He's not being kind. He's not being caring. And he's not being rational. So, like, you don't need to feel this level of, like, guilt and shame for upsetting him. But she tries to be like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not that I don't care. I just, like, got kind of, like, confused and I made a stupid mistake. And she ends up leaving crying because he's not receptive. And then he comes out and is like, why did you leave crying? Why are you
Dick.
crying? Why are you crying, though? Just because I said you did something wrong and you embarrassed me. Like, this is a move I'm seeing. I also remember from Chris and Huda's breakup. It's just like, are you trying to, like, embarrass her by being like,
Yeah.
why are you
Because
crying?
women should be ashamed if they cry.
It's just so unnecessary. Like, you know why she's crying and you're trying to like make her feel silly for crying.
Well, I do think it comes from that same place, like what we were talking about with Ollie earlier, where men have sort of been socialized to view a woman's tears as like inherently manipulative. He's like,
Right.
you're trying to get me to do what you want by having this emotional reaction. And there's no consideration of maybe this is just her emotional reaction. And it actually like you can do whatever you want with it. But that's her emotional reaction.
Right. Well, and I think it also comes from a similar place to his original anger about the challenge, which is that it's embarrassing. It's like she's coming out
Yeah.
here crying. It makes it look like he made her cry, which he did because he was being a dick. And he clearly starts to feel a little bad that she's so upset. She's like crying and being like, I didn't want to embarrass you. Like, it was just a stupid mistake. Like, I feel so terrible. I do really care. And it hurts that you say I don't care. And so he starts to soften a little bit. And finally, he's like, maybe this just validates how much I care, that I'm even upset. If I didn't care, then maybe I wouldn't be upset.
It's like
And
if you
so
think
this is
about
a
it,
good
maybe if a
thing.
man is mean to you, it's because he likes you.
That's always been true since the playground. Like,
And really healthy.
he's just not that into you unless he's being mean to you. In his confessional, he's like so proud of how mature he was about this, which to me was almost the most terrifying thing. I'm like, this is you being incredibly mature. I shudder to think of what it was like to be in a relationship with him in the past.
Shudder.
Shudder. I'm scared. But Daniel isn't the only one upset after the challenge. AD is also a little bit annoyed because she's like, Ollie clearly went so hard that Lucy thought he was her man. Like, what was he doing? And Louis is feeling the same about Sandy. And so when Sandy returns, Louis tells her that he's kind of angry and confused why she tried so hard in the challenge when she knew that he wasn't. He's like, clearly we weren't going to win the challenge because I wasn't really going to participate fully. So what's the point of you? And she's like, well, I don't like it's a challenge. I'm going to try. Like, I don't want to be like seen as a bad kisser. And he's like, oh, so it's just about how people see you. And she's like, no, I don't know. It's like a challenge. I wanted to do a good job.
Yeah, I get it. I think that's fair.
And they're both like, "Don't piss me off. No, you don't piss me off. You're pissing me off." And finally, she's like, "This is ridiculous. I wasn't like trying to find someone I kissed better with, and I did not want to be on a date with Clayton. I wanted to be on a date with you." And that's what Louis wanted to hear. So he's like, "Okay, well, you actually haven't done anything wrong, I'm realizing. I'm just annoyed because I'm annoyed, and that's because I like you." And
Something that I enjoy about Louis is that he is able to pull himself back from an emotional reaction that isn't necessarily fair and is able to state fairly quickly that his reaction wasn't necessarily fair and wasn't because his partner had done something wrong. And I think a lot of people do not have the ability to do that. Or like Daniel, it takes like a long time of his partner being visibly hurt for
And
him
then
to
he still
come
was like,
around.
I was amazingly mature for ultimately forgiving her and not saying
Right.
so many unforgivable and hurtful things like I normally would have. Yeah, I was like, I don't know that Louis was right to be mad to begin
He
with, but
wasn't.
it's a human reaction, and like he had an underlying like fear that he needed to finally kind of articulate and have addressed. And then he's able to be like, yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. I shouldn't be mad at you. My feeling of annoyance is not your fault. And like, I'm not going to put that on you. I do think that for a 23-year-old in this setting, that is unusually emotionally
I
evolved.
agree. Look, I hate to give
As-
a man credit, but
yeah, I was like, wow, I kind of wasn't expecting him to get to that point. Clayton.
oh yeah.
Clayton goes right back in and immediately dumps Rachel again. He tells her that out of respect, he has to not drag something out, and she knows what this means. She starts tearing up. She's like, "I can't do this again. I can't do it again." She gets up and she starts walking away while he's like trying to call the breakup after her. He's like,
She's
"I
like, I
have to
get it.
trust my intuition." What intuition? Your intuition is bad. Your
Also, your
intuition was saying the
intuition
opposite thing
said something
yesterday.
exactly like less than 24 hours ago. Your intuition said the opposite. So how good is your fucking
That's the thing.
intuition?
Like, what do you mean you have to trust your intuition? You clearly don't. If you don't like what your intuition is saying, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Like, just, like, ignore it. It
And
doesn't
Rachel
mean
is clearly, like,
anything.
more than anything, just so humiliated by this. She says to
Yeah.
him, she's like, this is so mean. Why would you put me in this position?
And again,
And
I
she's
think
right.
she's totally right, and I also think part of what is happening here is this, like, Clayton thing where he could have come back and talked to her
Right, he could have
about
even
what
said,
is
"Hey, I'm having some doubts. How are you feeling? Like, should we spend some time together and talk it through?" Instead, he, like, makes a decision in his head,
right. It feels
rewrites
very
the story.
high-handed. Yeah. I'm not saying that he should, like, drag it out if he's not feeling it per se, but to him, that means I immediately go in and I sit down and I dump her, and I'm like, "You have really spent very little time with her, and you
Almost
had
none,
one
actually.
one bad kiss." Like, you truly could sit down and, like, talk through your feelings with her or be like, "I wanna kind of give us a chance to connect on that level that we haven't really had except in this weird challenge." There are many reasons that kiss might not have been good in that setting. Right? Like the
You were
blindfolds or
blindfolded.
like nerves, all kinds of reasons. So like he could have like given that connection room to breathe a little bit and let her feel like she was an active participant in exploring whether there's something there.
Exactly. Instead, she just ends up feeling like a pawn, which is exactly what she felt like on his season,
Right. Like she's
where
like, you
he
just
like
pick me
was
up and
going
put me
back and
down.
forth. Yeah, like he did this to Rachel and Gabby, where he was like, "Oh, I love Susie. Actually, no, Susie's gone. Actually, I love you, but I also love you, and I had sex with both of you. But also, don't leave. But also, you need to leave because I'm going after Susie." Like,
Yeah, it's very like disempowering, sadly. I say this with sadness. I do feel like he's trying so hard to learn. He's trying so hard
he
to do it differently,
is.
but he's
He's not
making the
trying to
same
be an
mistake.
asshole, but
He's
he's
making the same mistake, which is like the best thing I can do is make clear decisions without involving her in them as quickly as possible. I'm like, she might have had the chance to come to the conclusion that this wasn't right if you had spent like 1 day with her, or if you had like talked through some of your concerns with her. And instead, you are dumping her in the same like condescending, high handed way for like the third time.
it's so shitty.
It's so mean, like, you owed her a little more time to feel this out. So, the next morning, Rachel is feeling calmer but still upset. She got the room for the night at least. And she's like, he's talking so much about intuition, but it's all within 24 hours because yesterday his intuition was telling him to keep me.
Ding,
Which
ding,
again,
ding.
I'm like, he needs to figure out how to actually know what he wants because he's just flailing around responding to the last feeling that he had.
Hmm.
He's like, the feeling is, I see her, it must mean something. The feeling is, bad kiss, bye bye. Like, what if you gave it a little room to breathe because your intuition clearly is quite capable of being proven wrong super quickly. So, like, don't go off of that, actually. But it is what it is. This is the decision he made. And his feeling after the night is, I sure wish my darn intuition had kicked in sooner. But I thought it
Idiots.
had. I thought it was just saying the
I
other
thought it was so
thing.
strong. Hmm.
He's like, that clearly wasn't my intuition because it turned out that I changed my mind. So that must not have been my intuition. That was the devil, I guess, or something. But he's like, "Hopefully, I'll get to go on a date. I think it's just time for me to go on a date. I really deserve that. I've had, like, a tough time. Time for me to go on a date." The house is clearly shocked by what went down, and we get an amazing scene where Louis and Rachel, like George W. Bush, try to remember the "fool me once" aphorism, and Louis gets it much closer than GW, than old W. He just adds his own Louis logic ending. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, fuck the peace sign. That's Louis logic to a T. Like, I don't know what that means, but it's very intellectual. And then they head to the boardroom. Unfortunately for Clayton, it is single men, of course, and he is visibly
Duh.
disappointed.
Sorry. Sorry, babe.
Yeah, oh, what a shame. One of the men is JR, and Sandy is in the boardroom this time, so she's like, "Oh my god, wow, interesting, but also unsettling. Why is he here? What's happening?" And they do at least agree that Rachel deserves to go on a date. So they put her on a date with Scott from Love Island,
I think
handsome,
UK.
bearded bloke. Yeah, presumably the OG. He is Welsh. And they put AD on a date with JR, clearly because Sandy wants him in the house. And AD's like, I know my
100%.
girl's hooking me up. And I'm like, no, she is hooking herself up. So when they come back and announce who's going, Ollie
Ollie is pissed.
is pissed. That's
Ollie's like,
okay.
it's really great when I send someone on a date to break up a couple. It's
Yeah.
not nice when it's done to me, and I'm allowed to have an emotional reaction.
He's like, it's also nice when I consider another option. That's normal and fun.
Yeah, no, certainly. Just not AD.
Yeah, but I thought that it was fascinating seeing AD respond to that. Like, they really are on the same wavelength where they can kind of, like, flirt and make each other jealous, and, like, his jealousy she finds, like, cute and, like, oh, he must be into her because he's so jealous, it's so adorable. But she's not, like, it doesn't make her feel guilty, it doesn't make her feel bad. She's like, "Well, I'm gonna look hot and go on my date, like, see you later." And then at the end of the night, she kind of is able to, like, let him have he's had his feelings, she's let him have them, she's not feeling bad about it, and then they kind of just, like, come back together stronger.
She plays it so well.
It's really impressive. I did feel like it was a lot, though, like, while she is on the date, Sandy is trying to convince him, like, "This is your chance to show AD that you're confident, that you're allowing her to go do her thing and not, like, try to control the situation," and he's, like, clutching Louis's arm like he is in labor. He's like, "If she matches with another man, I'll be vexed. I'll be like, 'You crafty cow. I shouldn't have to fight for what I already think is mine. I should
Ollie,
have put
take
myself.'"
it down a goddamn notch.
Like, you truly need to chill. This is not okay. JR comes into the date super overconfident. I
Shocker.
forgot how he is.
Yeah, I was like, if you recall him on the ultimatum, it's
It is
not
not for me.
surprising.
They're like, JR is everyone's type, and I'm like raising my hand, like, no, thank
Certainly
you.
not mine. Definitely not mine. You can have him.
When I hear a man say the word dickmatized, I'm like, I'm out.
Out.
Bye.
Done. Not for me.
He's like, I love stealing women from their men. Like, everyone wishes they could dickmatize their girl, but I literally can. I'm like,
Okay,
okay,
sir.
JR. They decorate pottery for each other and realize they're both Scorpios with 2 brothers and 4 sisters, and they both want twins, which run in his family, so they could have twins together. I was like, "This is actually insane."
Yeah, that is genuinely surprising. Unlike when like two people on Love is Blind both enjoy the sound of music, this is genuinely crazy.
No,
Or
if
both of our grandmothers are named Mary.
yeah.
This is more surprising than
If they
that.
were both on Love is Blind, they would have gotten engaged just based off of this alone. Like, they would be
100%.
like, "It's over. I'm proposing. We both have 6 siblings, and it's the same number of brothers and sisters." But when she asks what show he was on, she immediately realizes who he is. She's like, "Sandy put me on a date with her trial marriage ex." And she's clearly like everything is recalculating in her head. She's like, "I see what's going on here. This date is not actually for me. This is for Sandy."
Meanwhile, Rachel and Scott are going on a nice date. She's trying to flirt with him, copy his accent. I mean, they have a good time, but like eh, they don't have crackling chemistry.
Yeah, like, she's trying to match him where he's at, like, he loves to flirt through, like, banter and dark humor, and she'll kind of volley one back, but then when he does another, she'll be like, "I was joking," you know? Like, she's not quite in the flow with him, and so I felt like there was something kind of missing, but he's like, I mean, she's hot, and sure,
She
absolutely.
is hot.
She's hot enough that when she tells him there's another English guy in the house and Wales is all a part of England, he is still willing to continue exploring this connection. Not something that people from Wales and, like, Scotland and Ireland typically love to hear. When they return, Clayton is kicking himself for putting Rachel on a date. He's like, "Sometimes I wonder why I do the things that I do." Like, dude, she's not matching with you. Like, both have to leave the house. So the reason you did it is for your image, and I think you know that. It's so that you don't look like quite as much of a dick for what you did to her. Madison also clocks that Scott takes the open seat on the couch and leaves Rachel to pull up her own ottoman. Freddie would never, because he was written by a woman.
Honestly, so true.
I really am like, Scott is not good for Rachel in the end.
Scott
I'm
is
like,
there.
he's
Like
there.
Scott is good for Rachel in as much as it allows her to leave Clayton in the dust and
Yeah.
like partner with someone else and eliminate that.
Yeah. So this brings us to episode 5. Sandy and JR finally chat when he enters the house. Apparently, they haven't spoken since the show, but he has been looking at her stories and he calls her Sandstorm. I forget if this was a nickname on the show, but I hate it. I
I
find it
had
very
no
forced
memory
and
of this,
annoying.
but like maybe it was and they
It
just
feels very like
cut it.
bad romance novel.
Well, that's honestly their whole vibe
Yeah.
is bad romance novel. And she like admits to him that she considered putting herself on the date with him.
Yeah, like, they're
I
both
think
putting it out there that they're still interested in what wasn't fully explored between them because her ex was spiraling the whole time that they were together.
yeah, this is the thing is that like they walked right up to the line on the ultimatum. They never actually explored it because she was still committed to her relationship. And so it's like a dangling question.
Yeah. Louis is stressed. He's like, she clearly wants JD in the house. Like, this is her ex. And he also knows that she wants him to suffer like she did when Alex came in. And so he's suffering. He's taking it. Ollie is not taking it quite as well. He tells AD that he doesn't want to be made a fool of and he's not going to be sitting there waiting for her. He's like, I want to know which way you're leaning. But AD and Sandy are both ready for a little payback. So they're not rushing to reassure. They're like, let's take the evening and see how things play out. But at the end of the night, Sandy does admit to Louis that part of her is just mad that he put her through it with Alex. And he apologizes and says it was his immaturity. And he's like, I never thought let me make Sandy sweat. And I don't want to put you through that again. And I'm really sorry.
So they
And
match.
they match.
Ollie
And
and AD also ultimately, as you said, come back together. And he expresses how calm and confident he feels about what they have. And she just loves that.
yeah,
Mm.
it was an emotional journey for him of growth. And then he tells her that he feels more connected to her than his fiance on Love is Blind. And I was like, ouch.
Yikes. Also, to be fair, he does end up with AD and not with his fiance
Yeah.
from Love is Blind.
No, that's completely true.
So.
Like, she is clearly like the one. And so that makes it a little bit less of a sting,
blow.
but they only have known each other for like 3 days.
I know.
JR and Scott are making the rounds the whole night, trying to give themselves as many options as possible. Like, they're both talking to Rachel, they're both talking to Lucy and AD and everyone. But ultimately, Rachel is the only one who isn't pretty much locked in. And this leaves Clayton without much to do. There's no options for him in the house. All he can do is try to apologize to Rachel again and finally admits that he did have an intuition about giving it a shot and that it was wrong and that's his fault. And he's like, I'm extra cautious with you. And I'm like, you literally
No, you weren't.
at all. Like, what is being less cautious?
I think he's like, I cut it off and I let you go on another date.
I was extra cautious by cutting it off sooner, but like that isn't actually
Caution.
helpful. Yeah, caution would have been not matching with her night 1 by saying that you wanted to give it another. Like, you could even be like, I'm not really feeling my connection and I want to give you a shot to be in the house and like we can, catch up and see what there is for you here and like have her come in on a platonic level if he really wanted to be cautious. But no. Rachel's like, I did want to see what happened and I was triggered when my biggest fear manifested so quickly. And he tells her that he is happy to see her because so few people understand what he's been through.
This is really about him.
I'm like, Clayton, couldn't you think of another way to express that you were happy to see her other than like,
Certainly
finally,
not
someone who
Claire.
understands my
Understands
pain?
me. But ultimately, Rachel does match with Scott, and Clayton and JR leave the house.
The challenge the next day is work that pole. This is the one that I was
This
really
one's
enjoying
so
the production
deranged.
assistants trying to test out and like how many iterations of the design did they go through. They have to stand on top of like clear, like hexagon boxes full of colored balls with holes cut into the side.
Also,
And
these are like these hexagons are suspended
right.
over the water.
Right, so they have to hold onto the pole that they're suspended from. The box wobbles underfoot, and so they have to move the box to get the balls to fall into the water. If they fall, they are disqualified, so they have to really cling to the pole the whole
If
time,
they fit, if they, as in like the people fall. If
if
the
the people
balls fall,
fall.
you win. If the people fall, you
You
lose.
need the right thing to fall. And so the idea, as it so often is clearly for them to do sex moves. But they slightly miscalculated, I think, because the sex moves don't really move the platform enough. And it becomes clear that the only way to move the balls enough to eject them is to like very quickly move both people's weight from one side of the box to the other. Like
It
they
looks
have to
so
like
difficult.
hustle. It looks really hard. And like twerking and humping don't really do it. You have to truly just like transfer all the weight rapidly
Yeah,
from
you
one
like
side.
transfer the weight, and then once you're in a good position, you can do a little like twerking and humping to like shape the ball fully through the hole.
Yeah, but like most of it is the
Most of it is
weight
running back and
transfer.
forth on
So
this hexagonal platform.
like Rachel and Scott never figured this out. They're truly just standing on one side, it seems like, just humping the whole time. And they're like, why isn't this working? Why aren't our balls moving?
Louis and Sandy actually are quite good at this, but unfortunately, Louis ends up falling into the water. And so
And,
they are disqualified.
and Lucy and Daniel win their first challenge. And their date is a lesson in erotic rope tying. And afterwards, they talk about the boardroom. And he says that per Nick Lachey's constant exhortations to be open, he would consider putting himself on a date.
Nick Lachey is such a philosopher about this show.
Yeah, he has ideas and they are lofty and they are in service of love. You know, you really can't question that. And I think that it's fascinating that when Lucy doesn't notice the difference between Ollie's beard and Daniel's chin, she is like one of history's great monsters. And it's just truly wrong that he has to deal with her after that. But when he says that he would consider putting himself on a date, that's just something that she has to grin and bear it through. Like
Correct.
she's got to be mature. She's got to make
Yeah,
little jokes
Claire,
and be like, "It's fine."
I don't see the problem. This just seems like fairness for Daniel.
It's truly wild how like
Well,
he's
because I think you don't understand. The perfect match is about Daniel's experience.
right, and he
And
has to
is
stay
Daniel having a
open.
good time? Is Daniel
I hope so.
adequately not embarrassed?
It wouldn't be embarrassing to go on a date with another hot woman. I think that's pretty clear. I would love to see how he would react if she said the same. But she's like, "Well, I do genuinely care and I don't want to see him go on another date, but I have to be mature about this. Haha, everything's fine." The boardroom, however, comes with a big twist.
This is diabolical.
This is crazy. So, for the first time, there are two men and two women on the board, the first time this season. And Nick starts by having them rank the couples at the bottom, the couples in the house, in compatibility, everyone except for themselves. And so they rank the couples that they think are least open the highest. That ends up being how they kind of decide who is the most compatible. They seem to sense that that will have something to do with who is matched up because they're like, well, I think that actually Louis and Sandy are really compatible, but they would probably be more open than Freddie and Madison. So let's say Ollie and AD and Freddie and Madison are the most compatible, and Louis and Sandy and Rachel and Scott are the least compatible. And those turn out to be the opposite of what they're expecting. Only the most compatible two couples are eligible for dates.
I feel so bad, especially for Lucy.
I
She has to
know.
do this. Like, this is brutal. Nick tells them that not only are the most are like the strongest couples the only ones who are eligible for dates. But also, one half of each couple will be immediately ejected from the villa.
Right, so you can't just take a couple and split them up so they're both busy. They're literally going to have to take one person from each of the 2 strongest couples, send them on a date, and then the other 2 will have to leave the villa immediately. Notably, he doesn't say that they will go home or that they will be eliminated, but a lot of people seem to think that they are, which doesn't really make sense because
It
the
also
point of
just
it is to test their connection, so why would you just, completely permanently discard these connections?
Also, I understood why people thought that like during season 1, but now we're on season 3. You've seen that the singles all come back every single season
Right.
of this show.
They all come back, but this is the first time they've done this style of twist. Like, it's sort
Oh,
of like
this is
it's
diabolical,
like
but
Casa
also
Amor
smart.
perfect match style. It's like we are going to,
Yes.
like, take these strong connections, split them up, give them new options, and really see what happens. So this brings us to episode 6.
We
Um
open to a Chiron, 5 days left to pick the perfect match. And the
mm,
gang is just all having fun in the sun, wondering who's on the board. Louis is doing, I think, a quite excellent impression of Nick Lachey. And suddenly, who's there? Nick Lachey. And he is there to deliver absolute doom and gloom because he informs everyone that Daniel and Lucy had to choose 2 people to go on dates and also 2 people to go home. He's like, it was Daniel and Lucy. It's their fault.
Yeah. And he tells them that if the person's partner is sent on a date, they'll be going home, and Nick frames this as a matter of, like, philosophies. Like, this all goes back to, like, a core philosophy of the show. Are you currently with the person you are most compatible with? That's
This,
philosophy, baby.
this made me laugh so hard. I was like, ah, yes, now I see. Nick,
Yeah.
you are so wise.
Just like Clayton has everything happens for a reason on his screensaver, Nick has on his screensaver, are you currently with the person you are most compatible
No,
with?
I thought he just had philosophy.
He lives his life by
Yeah, in
philosophy.
bubble letters.
Doesn't matter which one. This is not philosophy, but this is the
This is a
justification that they're using.
and it is mean, but also kind of an incredible production twist because it fucks up the game in a pretty
Yeah.
major way. Poor Lucy and Daniel have to then come out and tell all of their friends that Madison will be going on a date and Ollie will be going on a date, which means that Freddie and AD have to immediately leave. And both Madison and AD basically immediately burst into tears. It's
Yeah.
so sad.
They're both like, basically, this is my person. Like, Madison
Yeah.
doesn't want to, is like, I don't want to be here without Freddie. And he is worried. He's like, I don't think that I'm her usual type. So maybe she'll end up meeting someone who is her type on this date, and maybe our connection won't survive it. So he kind of, to me, seems to think he'll be coming back. Not all of
Yeah.
them do, but AD is so upset that she goes and sobs in her room, and she's like, my heart is shattered. I was like, does she think she's going home forever?
I think that she knows that Ollie
Can't be
is someone who will be
trusted.
in high demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just sort of think she understands her man and she's like he is a little bit out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Well, and Ollie's like, well, she's still here right now. So how do I feel about AD? She's my person. She's my best friend. Like, he doesn't want this to happen. Like, he's
No,
very
no one
sad.
wants this to happen. But also like they are on a TV show and they do need to continue playing the game. So they head off on their
Yeah.
dates. It's
And it's
all
so hard for him. He's
it's
like,
all
feels like I'm cheating. Like, it's so hard to do this. Like, I miss AD. Oh, who's that? 2 extremely hot
oh,
women?
hot ladies.
Exactly
AD
my
who?
type.
I mean, this trajectory for Ollie, it is so wild. He's like, oh, my best friend, my person. I love her. I'm cheating on her. Oh, hot lady. Massage. I massage hot lady body. God bless America.
Oh, it's like, how can I cope? I guess that I will just have to give a massage to Justine from Love Island USA and Olivia from Temptation Island. And he's
He
like,
does.
you're making it a lot easier for, they're like, how's your connection? He's like, really good. But, it's making it a lot easier having to being with
Calm
you 2
down,
ladies.
Ollie. Jesus Christ. Madison is a little more measured. She's like, okay, I'm gonna try to have fun. I'm not just gonna sit and cry. And what do you know? She's also going on a date with two singles, Jalen from Too Hot to Handle and Ray from Love Island USA. Their date is boxing, which I will say is significantly less relaxing and less sexy than Ollie's date.
Yeah. And listen, if I were Madison, I probably would have preferred this rather than having to give massages to two men
Yes,
while I'm like, I feel like the love of my life was ripped away from me. So maybe it was for the best. She
right.
does sort of seem, she has that look and sound like she has recently been crying for like the whole rest of the day,
I
like through the
know,
date and into the evening. She's
but
not like
she's
really
trying.
like for Ollie, it's truly just like all of a sudden it's as if AD never existed. And Madison is clearly feeling the absence of Freddie very deeply.
Yeah. But she does say that Jalen is her like normal type, tall, dark, handsome, tattoos. Back at the house, everyone else is tense. They're like, oh no, are the vibes going to be so bad when Madison and Ollie return? Turns out, no. They're in good spirits. And in Ollie's case, perhaps a little too good of spirits because he walks in, smile on his face, holding both women's hands. And Sandy's just like, ugh. She talks to the camera. She's like, I don't like this. I don't like that smirk on his face. I don't like how happy and goofy he is. This man was crying an hour ago.
It's
I
like
don't trust any of them.
you really can't trust. You can't trust a man.
You can't.
The cocktail party ensues. And I like they all seem shocked that there are two women, but obviously and two men, but I think that they really had to send in options because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just sort of de facto paired with the one person you were sent on a date with. They would need to
No, I think this was
recreate that.
smart.
So Olivia and Justine are both gunning for Ollie's match. And Olivia pitches skinny dipping and just like nudity. And he initially hesitates slightly. And then he's like, no, yeah, definitely. Let's get naked. I love that. Justine interrupts and he's like, you're a bit of Ollie. Like you gotta get in there. Like he's gonna love you.
Yeah. Scott is like hyping up Justine because they did Love Island games together. And I think Ray also did. So the three of them are like, oh, friends. I have friends in
Yeah.
here.
And it feels like Justine and Ollie really click, and she's like more specifically his exact type than
Olivia.
Olivia. And he even says like maybe I should match with Olivia so that I'm not like as tempted by the person who isn't AD. Like maybe I should make it a little easier on everyone. Um and no, he matches with Justine. This is the conversation where we learn that she wants a basketball team of kids, which it means five, traditionally for those who aren't
And
familiar.
only boys because
Only
boys
boys.
are easier. Okay. Claire,
He's
care to weigh in?
oh my God. Well, to Ollie's credit, he's like, no, they're not. You don't want five of me. That's insane. Like two max. Boys are actually hard, believe it or not. Like, thank you. Boys are not easier than the children are complicated. But this narrative that boys are like more desirable because they're easier, I actually specifically hate because it's really derived from this idea that like women like it goes back to like you have to kind of teach women to behave better than men. And so if you're raising daughters, then you have to more
Right.
specifically train them to navigate the world because boys will be boys and boys are just going to do stuff and girls are the ones who have to learn
I
like
really
to
hated
be
this.
I hate that. And then I think it has evolved a little bit into like girls are drama. Like they're always going to be like having feelings and crying and they're going to be like, you know, Melissa was mean to me at the playground or like, Natasha didn't invite me to the movies and there's so much drama and boys are just like they don't have feelings and it's so chill. And I'm like, I hate every iteration of this
Yeah, you're
trope.
like, actually boys have lots of
Boys
feelings.
have feelings and you actually do have to support them and teach them how to deal with them and also you have to teach them how to behave. You do not get to not raise your boys just because the
No, in
world will
fact,
accommodate
in a
them.
way, it's more imperative.
Yeah, but people feel like they don't have to because the world is built for them and it's going to make room for them, and you have to teach
Gross.
your daughters to navigate it. Yeah, I hate it. But he's like, "No, like, we are actually very difficult. You don't want that. I will only have 2 boys max." And she's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "You guys don't get to choose." Just for a little reminder. So he does pick Justine and they match. And he's like, I was really feeling pretty sure that my perfect match was AD, but Justine is turning up with those eyes, that smile, that body. It's making me unsure.
And then the camera follows them upstairs, where we just hear and see Ollie making out hardcore with Justine while
Ugh.
he whispers that she's sexy as hell. So,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna say I really hope that AD got to see the full edit before she decided to commit her life to this man because it's airing and she's already having his child. So I'm like,
and marrying
and
him.
marrying
So,
him. But the kid is pretty permanent.
yeah,
I'm like, I hope that she had all this information. Uh, Jalen is also feeling Madison, but he makes the rounds and chats up Rachel. They bond over being from Florida. And Scott sees this and he tries to sort of direct both Ray and Jalen toward Madison and not toward Rachel. And it works. Scott is able to like secure the
his
match with
match.
Rachel. Madison tells Jalen that she is still very into Freddie and she doesn't kiss him when he goes for it. But she does ultimately match with Jalen over Ray. So Louis and Sandy have also been having some issues during this whole cocktail party. Louis has told Sandy that he doesn't think it's worth it to even have a conversation with another woman. But then he tries to kiss her and she sort of like dodges it. And then Jalen pulls her to chat and he is furious. Louis is really mad.
He's very mad.
Also, Jalen says that he thinks that 40 is a day away from a walker when he's like insulting Sandy's ex. I'm
I was
like,
like, wow, wow, this is really triggering for me to watch on my 38th birthday. Thank you, Jalen.
you have a couple years before you need to
Need
get
a
a
walker.
walker. And
That's so
also,
comforting.
you can need a walker at any age and still be vital and deserve
Very
love and
true. How
happiness.
did like stop with this
You
walker
can,
slander? That's
right, you
very
can
ableist.
just be, yeah, exactly, just because you use an aid of some kind does not make you no longer worthy of attention. So Louis ends up pulling Sandy and tries to be very circumspect and calm about this, but he's like, "You haven't done anything wrong, but I am upset because I basically told you that I wasn't going to talk to other women, but you're chatting with the other men and it makes me wonder if you have genuine intentions with me, like maybe you just want to win." He's like, "I've been doing shows, so I've seen girls that are like that and boys, I'm sure."
Yes.
And Sandy is offended. She's like, "I've had all those doubts about him and he's the one who thinks that he can have these concerns about me. Like, how dare he?" And Olivia senses an opening here. She pitches herself to Louis and is like, "Relationships shouldn't be so negative. Like, that just seems like a lot of bad energy. Like,
I'm
I'm
just so
calm."
calm. I'm so chill. Not like her.
The women are always like, "I will make no emotional demands on you and I will fulfill all of your sexual
Yeah, wouldn't it
demands."
be easier if you were just with the woman who didn't need anything from you? That could be me.
Yeah, it would be
So
me. I'm
bleak.
ready.
Louis
And
is a little tempted, but he really likes Sandy, and they ultimately do sit down once they've had a little space and have like a more mutually understanding conversation. Sandy admits that she has real feelings for him, and she's still kind of scarred by the whole Alex thing. She starts crying again, and Louis ultimately goes over and hugs her, and he's like, "Look, I'm trying to communicate clearly with you. Like, that's not like native to me. Like, I'm sort of," he explains that like generally his mindset is like, "I'm feeling this, I'll deal with it, me with me, that's it." And he's like, "I'm trying to like actually just tell you how I'm feeling when I'm feeling it." And he admits that he doesn't think he can really meet someone else in this experience that can sway his head.
yeah, and they end up matching up. They end up going to bed to finish talking, but Sandy still feels like Louis is operating on a double standard where he can explore and she can't. What did you think about this?
I was like I was a little bit on Louis' side.
Me too.
Is that weird? I mean,
I feel like wrong saying that,
I
but
know. I feel
like
like I'm just it's not that I think Sandy is bad at all, but I think that Louis was actually quite clearly articulating that she hadn't done anything objectively wrong, but that he was having these feelings. And he is looking for those feelings to be like met and then like reassured, right? He
yeah,
wants her to say to him, "Of course I have genuine feelings for you."
right. And I also feel that Sandy seems stuck on this incident with Alex, but that's like a couple incidents ago. Like then
Right.
she brought her ex into the house and made him sweat all night.
Right, you already
And
got payback for that.
right, so are we going to keep operating under he deserves to be made to stress because he did that to you several nights ago? Like, can you move forward? He's at this point saying, I'm set on you. I don't really want to explore. And she's like, it's such a double standard. He says that he can explore and I can't. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, I told you I'm not going to explore. So it hurts that you are still exploring. They've both taken time to explore and they've kind of come to a place of like peace on those incidents. Does that mean that going forward, she can always say, well, once you made me wait while you considered Alex, so I get to explore in perpetuity? Like, he wants to move things forward. You've both had a chance to explore. I don't think you can say it's a double standard at this point.
I agree. I mean, I also think I am also glad that he understands that she is, of course, allowed to chat with someone if they pull her for a chat. She's
Yeah,
not going to say, no, I'm not going to talk to you.
right. Yeah, no, I think he's trying really hard to communicate clearly and to not like guilt her or make her feel like she's doing something wrong while he's expressing what he wants from their relationship. And I was frustrated that, like, I think that she has a lot of just like baggage also attached to the show he came from and his age and all these things where she's like, how dare he say that I can't be trusted? He clearly can't be
Right.
trusted.
He's
He's
a
a 23-year-old who,
23-year-old who's been on 2 seasons of Too Hot to Handle.
right. And I'm like, but his
Oh, I'm looking for
behavior,
clout. Like, he's the
right,
one who's the professional reality star. I've been on one show. I think that was
right.
also a piece of it.
For sure, and it's such an interesting contrast to the Jessica Vestal and Harry Jowsey relationship where I did feel like he was really emotionally manipulating her and making her feel like she had to accommodate him a lot, and she
100%.
was kind of didn't tried to, like, set boundaries with him, but also would feel bad and guilty. Like, Sandy's trying to be really proactive about setting those boundaries, but I think Louis is really trying to, like, be an equal partner here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm rooting for these crazy kids.
Me too. Meanwhile, Ray has been chatting with Lucy, and they end up getting into a very animated and loud conversation about the fact that Ray shares a birthday with Lucy's terrible, toxic ex.
And it's not even a flirty conversation. It
No.
is funny. She's like screeching because he's like, I don't know, April 29th, maybe he's a good guy. Like they're joking. They're joking around. She's like, no. And Daniel gets angry at her.
There's a
This is
specific
insane.
decibel level that you are allowed, a specific decibel level that you are allowed to reach when talking to a person of the opposite sex. And if you exceed that threshold, then you are dishonoring your man. Like you are cucking him, cuckolding him,
This
cucking.
is just so unacceptable.
This is wild. Like, this is what I like. The first time when he overreacted to her misidentifying him in the blind kissing lineup, I was like, I could
Red flag, red
understand
flag, red flag.
being upset. However, I just feel in my gut that when a guy reacts this way to something like this, it is not the last time. It's going to happen again. It's going to
And look
be
at
over
that.
smaller and stupider things. And he is going to feel more and more aggrieved, like she is always hurting him, offending him, embarrassing him, and he has to put her in line. And lo and behold, like 2 episodes later,
This
She's
made me
talking too loud to another man.
this made me so mad. And Lucy ends up walking off crying. She's like, I feel like I'm always pissing you off. I'm always doing something wrong. And Daniel, this is the pattern he does. He like is so mean to her. She
Yeah.
gets so upset. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, my mom told me to treat women well. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're not embarrassing, even though I just said that you were embarrassing, you're not, and, let's match. And she's like, "Great, let's do it." But she's still a little bit concerned. At
Uneasy.
this point, she's concerned. She's like, clearly there's something that needs to be figured out here because he keeps telling me I'm embarrassing."
So Olivia and Ray end up leaving the villa, and Olivia has a feeling that maybe her perfect match is actually still there because these boys are all just trapped by their women, and she's ready to chat with them when they aren't under like the watchful eyes of their lady masters, I guess.
And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon. The next morning, Justine and Ollie wake up together. She tells him that she's never been cuddled like that before. Nick Lachey arrives to tell the gang that they'll be splitting up by gender to mingle with the singles. It's happening, and the men are so pumped. Ollie's like, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Ollie,
It
the
does
cat
not
is
seem
already away.
it also does not seem to occur to him that like AD is one of the singles.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be concerning him at all.
He's like, I assume AD and Freddie are just in another house altogether. And they won't be seeing anything we're doing. So we get the very beginning of the boys' day in this drop. And we see that the men are just 0% worried about their partners doing anything to disrespect them. And
Mm.
they are very ready to disrespect their partners.
Yeah, all the men really want Daniel to explore, and he's like, it's a hall pass situation. Would he feel that way if he found out that Lucy, I don't know, spoke to a man in too loud of a volume or smiled at him too widely? I don't know. Probably not. The ladies arrive. It's like QT, Alex, Hannah, Olivia, Juliet, like the women we've seen on the board, the women who have left the villa already, and an AD. Like, of course.
No,
And
and the men are like stricken. They're like, oh no, mean mommy is going to be here to watch us. And Ollie says, oh shit, we're in trouble. The
I mean,
boys are fucked, including me.
it's like he thought she was dead. He's like, I loved her. We had such
Yeah.
a beautiful marriage for many years. But now she's in the ground, and I guess at least her friend is bringing me a casserole, and she has a nice smile. Like, maybe this is my new wife. Like, no, AD was always going to come back. Like,
Duh, you idiot. We get a little preview of the next drop of episodes, which blessedly is only 3. We see Daniel making out with Juliet, Louis making out with a brunette who I think is Alex, Daniel licking up Olivia's inner thigh, so he'll really be wilding out. And turns out the women aren't super pleased when they
yeah.
clock back in. We see Louis and Sandy getting into it, Scott and Rachel getting into it, Lucy and Daniel getting into it. JR is back in the house, and AD does find out what Ollie's been up to with Justine. So things are going to get dramatic.
Dramatique. So I can't wait for the next drop of episodes, but we've been talking for well over 2 hours. It's time for us to wrap it up. On that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon, and Emma Gray. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like the show, please follow us, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. And of course, tell all your friends about our show.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com.
I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at EmmaLadyRose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey: Eric Donnelly, Aaron Constantino, Kate Rose, Maura Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schiller.
We'll be back next week.